I just wake up in the morning and I yell a lot, even though it's way too early. It's fun though. Wake up, wake up, wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up. Good morning. Thank you once again for getting up way too early with Garage Gym Life. On this show, we talk about fitness-related content from a home gym perspective, and we get your live reactions to the topics that matter to the home gym community. So, first thing I need you guys to do for me, since you're here anyway, is hit that like button and hit subscribe at the same time if you have not already done that. So, and I'll tell you that the reason why you need to do that is our channel is not like most YouTube channels. Instead, we designed it to be like a magazine. So think of each playlist as a different section of the magazine. And this live stream is like the cover story. It's the thing that caught your eye, that makes you want to. And then every month you keep on coming back to find out who the guest is. Except instead of it being monthly, it's every week. And I cannot wait every week to get up and talk to you guys. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and welcome in my lovely wife, Naomi, to the show. And before I can do that, I got to play her song. Here we go. See, your head's bobbing now. I knew I would get you. So when I first started playing it, she was like, "Oh my goodness, what is this?"
It's sleep deprived.
No, it's good. It's growing on you. I can see it. We're making progress. That's what I want. All right. So, once again, this is my wife, Naomi Greaves. Make sure you guys are following her. Subscribing to her, I'm sorry, on YouTube. She's got a home office channel that if you haven't checked out, you definitely need to check it out. It's got over 10,000 subscribers and some really cool content for those of you who want to work from home or who are already working from home and want some tips to, make the day go by a little bit better and make yourself more productive. Before we check out who's here in the live chat, though, Naomi, go ahead and tell everybody what's on the menu for today's show.
Of course. Well, first of all, good morning, everybody. And so for today at 6:15 Eastern, we'll have news and other things with me. And then at 6:45, we have the Recliner of Rage, and he'll tell you why he's upset this week. And then at the second hour at 7 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Central, we have Chris Spignini from Strength and Steel Reviews will join us to talk about how creating content helps him realize his goals of making a difference in people's lives. And then finally, in the third hour, from 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, we have Ryan Powell with Caracara Metal joining us to talk about making awesome builds that help you make the most out of your home gym equipment.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Naomi. So we have now reached the point where it's time that we gave you plenty of time. It's time for us to check attendance, take attendance, and see who's in the building. So let's go ahead and go to the live chat. And by the way, if you're watching live, make sure you're not just watching. All right, this is an interactive show. I need you to post your questions and comments in the live chat. So let's see who's here first. Who was here first? All right. So looks like first person in the building was, no big surprise here, it's our guy Carlos. He says, so we're just gonna march right into this one, huh? But okay. He says, wake up, wake up, wake up. What's up, Carlos?
Morning, Carlos.
You guys, Carlos was the guest last week, and he has an amazing and in every sense of the word series of pair of live streams, I guess. Yeah, let's call it a pair of live streams that he does on Friday and Saturdays.
Yep.
So the Friday live stream, he's streaming Ghost of Tsushima right now. It's a video game. You guys get to basically make fun of him while he plays the game and try, because he refuses to look at the instructions. He refuses to follow instructions if he does happen to come across them accidentally. And so, but he's still doing all right. And then the banter back and forth is really cool. Plus, you guys get to see Naomi in her constant battle with Jesse to see who's going to be the first to be on the show. Yeah, yes. Be the first. And then on Saturday night, he does more of like a horror game live stream, and that's entertaining as well. I don't watch too much of that because I don't believe in
I watch it with the lights on.
I don't believe in trying to scare myself, but I did watch last week, and the sarcasm got activated as soon as I started watching it. So I had a really good. My point is, even if you're not really into video games and watching them, it's fun watching Carlos play them because it's, you know what? If you were in college and you watch people play Tetris, all right, and you're like, why am I watching this? And you just kind of like got into it, and it's because of the vibe. That's what watching Carlos play these games is. It's the vibe. So appreciate you being here, man. And we will be in your stream tonight. Pause. We will be watching your live stream tonight. Yeah, I had to catch that one. All right. Next up in the building is Colonial Barbell Club. My guy Sean said he's a fan of all the people in the thumbnail for this stream. Hey, man, I appreciate you. We're fans of what you do as well. Guys, make sure you guys follow Colonial Barbell Club here on YouTube, or subscribe. I keep saying follow. Subscribe to Colonial Barbell Club on YouTube. Then see, 1 minute after Sean was Letha from Auburn, Alabama.
Good
Balance
morning.
and Grace Coaching says, good morning from Alabama. Ever since I saw Forrest Gump, I can't just say Alabama anymore. I have to say it like he said it. I just feel like it's important. All right. Let's see who stirred up. Let's see. Trevor started off the day wrong. He said, let's get this day started right with what he believes is correct, but he's sadly misled with floppy bacon. And Naomi and I were actually having a discussion. We're trying to decide on the patches. Give you a sneak peek. Those of you who are going to be at HomeGymCon, you know, we're going to have a live in-person show. We always bring stuff. And so we're thinking about what the best thing is to do related to this floppy bacon and righteous crispy bacon.
Did you just say righteous?
Yeah, eat in heaven.
No.
I just want to. Anyway, so we're trying to get some ideas together to bring them or take them to HomeGymCon with us. So you guys got, just stay tuned. We'll let you know what's going on. All right, we'll get that sign up sheet out. I'm not gonna do it as early as I did before. Probably I'll do it in June this time.
Okay.
That way you guys, it's early enough for you guys to have time to figure out if you're gonna go, but not so early that it kind of gets put on the back burner. I'm not even gonna read that. Okay. Trevor said it's Friday. It's time for floppy bacon. It's never time for floppy bacon. Floppy bacon is a sign that you need to put it back in the oven.
No, you have so it's crispy around the edges, but it's the perfect, because I mean you really can't temperature check.
Are you familiar with the term oxymoron? Because you said floppy and then you said perfect, and those two things cannot coexist.
First of all, bacon should not impale you through the top part of your mouth. If it could stab you through the roof of your mouth, there's a problem.
If you drop your bacon, it doesn't shatter into at least 3 pieces, there's a problem. That's all I'm saying. That's just all I'm saying. Let's move on to Carlos, who is known as Carlos. All right. And then there's Carlos from CBS TCR. And then there's that other Carlos that we don't talk about anymore. All right.
That's all I heard about this week is other Carlos.
Hey, I was a victim. Okay. I had to fight back.
And then on top of that, there was another Carlos that got thrown into the mix. And I'm like, hold on, which one is this one?
That's other Carlos.
Exactly.
There you
go.
It seemed perfectly clear to me.
It's conversation, mental gymnastics.
There's a lot.
In the previous household. Sometimes.
You know what? All I'm gonna say back to Carlos is good morning. That reminds me of Good Morning Vietnam. I haven't seen that movie in a minute. Let's see here. Moving on. Hey, and people are sharing it, and it is paying off. So all of y'all, if you're here because you had this stream shared with you, please hit the like button and hit subscribe. All right. That way you don't miss a single one of these. All right, let's go back. We've got a few more. Carlos said about his stream. He said, people love to watch my pain and feed on my fear. That seems accurate. that seems accurate.
I got your back, Carlos. Okay, you're doing a great job.
She got your back from all the way over here. So you take that for what it's worth. And Carlos said, know me. And then he says, oh, hey, John. That's the hatred I've come to expect. Let's move on to Jared. My guy, Jared. I know he's in my corner. Jared says, good morning. What's up, Jared, man?
Good morning, Jared.
Jared was in the building when we did Mailbag Mondays. I appreciate you being there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's see. Make sure we didn't miss anybody. Let's see here. Said clones of clones of clones. That's it. That's pretty much it. Let's move on. All right. So now that we have seen who is here in the live chat, we've taken attendance. Let's take about 40 seconds and check out my favorite powerlifting bar from Bells of Steel. Here we go. This is the Bare Naked Powerlifting Bar from Bells of Steel. I have used a lot of bars since I started lifting weights in 1993, and this bar has got to be one of my favorite. I have loved this bar since I first saw it at HomeGymCon in French Lick in 2023. I saw it, tried it, and I had to bring it home with me. It's a bare steel bar, so I said, let me see how well it holds up without any maintenance done to it. And when I say zero maintenance, it still has a blood mark from where I hit my forehead when I was getting set up to squat one day. And I left it on there because I committed to do zero maintenance on it just to see how the bar would hold up, and it has not disappointed me. All right, so I am such a big fan of that bar. I use it at least 3 times a week. And if you would like to add one of the Bells of Steel powerlifting bar, whether you get the coated or the bare naked version, that's basically the bare steel version. Okay, let's just clear that up. I don't know why they called it that, but it just means it's the bare steel version. So there's no protective coating, which means the knurling is a little bit more aggressive because you don't have Cerakote filling in the grooves in the knurling. But in any case, if you guys would like to add that to your gym, you can click that shopping button, or you can use the product link that is in the video description. And then that works whether you're watching live or whether you are watching on replay. All right. And in advance, we appreciate all you guys' support. Now it's time for news and other things. All right, the first news item is we are actually ahead of schedule, okay? We're not even supposed to be doing this part till 6:15. It is 6:11, 6:12. Look at that.
Like that. That we're a little ahead of schedule.
Look at that, okay? Do you see that? I rolled out of bed and picked up speed, okay? I rolled out of bed like an athlete, and then I picked up speed, okay? Just like that.
I just want to go on the record that after this show is done, he's going to go ahead and get the ointment for all those movements that he's just made, because he's popped something out of place and he's got to snap it back, and gua sha, and you know the
talk about my gua sha habits.
So no sudden moves.
What I think is hilarious is this has nothing to do with news and other things or anything like that. But I just think it's funny so y'all see what happens all the time, right? So my shoulders, so I bench on Monday because that's the thing I'm working on improving primarily, right? Then my second lift that I'm trying to working on improving is a squat. So my first workout of the week is on Monday's bench, which obviously tightens your chest and everything else, right? Folds you in this way. And then Wednesdays I squat. So I'm trying to get on the squat bar and that, right? So it's hard to do it. So I really can't get into a good low bar position until my shoulders loosen up, and usually they pop. So I unracked the bar. Remember this happened the other day? I unracked the bar and my right shoulder popped. I said, and then let me turn around, looked like, what's going on? I said, well, my right shoulder just popped. So now I can get on the bar better. And once my left shoulder pops, I'll be good to go. And she just, she put her head down in despair.
That's why we carry life insurance on you, buddy.
Whatever. No one's listening to that. And Trevor said, now you're behind schedule because you had to brag about being ahead of schedule. Au contraire, bonjour. We're not supposed to even be at this part till 6:15. I'm still 1 minute ahead. Okay, let's go. For question of the day. And this one is based off of something I saw. Actually, most of the questions of the day are based off of something I saw, okay? Something that will spark a question, right? And this time I was watching the video from Major Fitness, and and I saw somebody post something in the comment section that led me to say, that'd be a really good question, because this is not the first time I've seen this sort of thing pop up, right? So the question of the day is, what's the best way to shoot your shot when you approach a brand? Or I guess I could have just said, what's the best way to approach a brand if you want to work with them? Okay. But since I'm, young and up on the lingo, I said, what's the best way to shoot your shot? Yeah. Hey. There we go. All right. We don't need any of that negativity.
Well, when you approach this, so when you approached this question last night when we were talking about it, the only image I have in my head is that Disney cartoon where it's from Moana, and you have that little kid that is like giving like shoulder, trying to like hit on Moana during the hula dancing.
Oh, I
Um,
think
so that's the
okay.
only image, and so
Hey,
it's like I just see
man,
that
my
little
man had to go
that
for it.
guy
You never
going
know if
for
you're gonna
it with
try.
brands.
My man
So
got to go for it. That's it. He said, "I got to go for it." So, question of the day: what's the best way to shoot your shot when you approach a brand? I want you guys to go ahead, especially since we have a fair amount of content creators who have done brand deals.
Mhm.
Post in the comments what's been the way that you found that has been the most successful or effective for you to approach a brand that you've never worked with before
Mhm.
for a project. All right, and I'll say that I have varying degrees of success when I approach a brand. Okay. So for
Mhm.
the most part, brands approach us because I don't really do a good job of initiating brand deals. It's not bad if it's like to get an interview, but to just do a brand deal, like, hey, send me something, whatever, which is the
Right.
basic thing.
Mhm.
I don't do a good job of that. But I know what I don't do. And that is I do not post in the YouTube comment section of one of their videos, hey, if you send me this, I'll do a review for you,
No.
which is exactly what I saw. And I'm telling you, at least don't do that if you want to be taken seriously. So that's the comment that I saw, and it was on the Major Fitness Heritage Series video.
Mhm.
I'll go ahead and I'll pull it up, even though there's not really the comment actually got taken down, but somebody was watching this. Let me sounds off. All right, somebody's watching this, and the first thing they thought to say, the only thing they could say is, "Hey, I haven't seen any reviews of this, so if you send me one, I'll do a review for you." And it's somebody I had never heard of. Okay, that doesn't mean
Oh,
I don't know everybody, but I'm just saying I didn't feel like that was going to be successful when I saw the comment, and the comment has since been taken down. So that sounds like failure to me. Okay.
yeah.
Um, I want to say that there are a couple things I'm going to say, and then I want to read what people's responses are.
Yeah.
Product reviews are part of a brand's marketing budget. Okay.
Mhm.
Aimed at attracting early adopters and early majority. So early adopters are basically, if you've done any business stuff, early adopters are the people who like they don't mind taking a risk on a new product. They don't need to know, they don't care if and nobody else has seen it. And in fact, they enjoy being the first ones to try something so they can say, hey, I was here first, right?
Right.
The early majority, those are the ones who gonna they'll jump on board before you have a ton of social proof, before you have a ton of reviews,
Mhm.
because they're kind of like right after the early adopters. They want some proof, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
And the thing with early adopters, and that's a lot of people in the home gym space, is that they tend to be more critical because obviously the product hasn't had a ton of feedback yet. So they're jumping on board. They're like, hey, oh, I just noticed this, I noticed this, or whatever. So they're actually a critical part of the brand strategy. Nevertheless, product reviews are part of the marketing budget to try to attract these people. So that means they want somebody who has a track record of being able to attract people to a product that may not have any buzz. It's nothing if you do videos about a product that everybody's talking about already. They want
Right.
to know, that you can get people to look at something that nobody's talking about. Um, so if you're not already somebody on their radar, I think the best way to approach them is the way you would apply for a job. Um,
Yeah.
you send them an email telling them what you've done, and to me, this can include your athletic accomplishments, but just basically they want proof that you have people who listen to and respect your opinions in a relevant niche. Um, I would also add, give them a rough idea how you would cover the product. You don't have to, don't worry, they're not gonna steal your concept, but just say, hey, look, this is my idea. And
Mhm.
this is how I used to pitch stories to magazines for articles, and this did work. So
Mhm.
this is what I would use. What other suggestions would you add to this, Naomi? And I'm gonna
I
go
mean,
check in the comment section, see what people are saying.
I guess also the fact that it's something that it would be a niche that you would use, like with Expedience, for example, using their Volanics because it mimics so much what my road bike
Yeah.
does. And then seeing it for the first time at HomeGymCon last year, I
Yeah.
was like, yes, saw the Gym Monster and all the other products they had to offer, but it was the Volunix that really like stood out to me the most, and it
I
was
love
like,
that you call it
okay,
the Volunix.
it is the
The
what, the Volunix,
Velinix.
Villainix.
Because
I say
it's
it
like
correctly.
velocity next.
Well, the fact of the matter is
Oh,
that it was like it really like resonated with me, and it was like I was like love this, and I think talking more about that piece of product and then what we can be able to do together with this was what kind of made that brand deal happen, actually.
yeah. Yeah. And I think that actually surprised them because so they came sprinting over, okay, um, to us, and they had us go over to their booth, and
Shout out to Ray.
yeah, shout out to Ray because she was
Yeah.
persistent, and that's the only
Mhm.
reason why we did it because a lot of other people just watched us walk by their booth, and she
Mhm.
saw us, and I guess she recognized us and ran over and was like, "Hey, I need you to come over to our booth because I want to show you." And then she showed us the Gym Monster, like you said,
Yeah.
and then your eyes lit up when you saw the Valnex, and she was like, "You like that?" She's yes,
Loved
and
it.
that's
Love it.
when
Mhm.
Naomi was like, "Yeah, so I'm a triathlete. I do a lot of road cycling. This is part,
Mhm.
So that was a really really good situation. I would say that even approaching people in person at Home Gym Con
Mhm.
is a good way. Um, which to me is one reason why people should go to Home Gym Con. Like if this is something you want to do, or if you even want to try it, that's going to be the place where you're going to run into a bunch of people. You're also going to run into a bunch of smaller brands that may not want to ship you something, but you can pick it up right there. And
Mhm.
especially if you live local, like Trevor and some other people and Jared, you can just get it, throw it in the car, and like they don't have to worry about shipping or anything like that. You can, no harm.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But
Yep.
at least you tried. And I think
Mhm.
that they're a lot more receptive if they see you in person because now they kind of get a feel for
Right.
they can,
Right.
the relationship and the vibe. Um, Carlos says, I'm such a prime early adopter. But you know what? You've been doing reviews for Best Buy and the movie stuff because they recognize, oh, this is somebody we need to kind of get our product in the hands of. So
Mhm.
that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with being an early adopter. Sean said, I introduce myself first and foremost. I state the ethos of the channel. Good.
Good.
I tell the brand how I can and would evaluate their product. And I also link my analytics across my different socials. That is huge.
Yep.
Because again, they want to know, they
What's
don't
in it
want
for
to,
them?
yeah,
Not
anybody
just
can
what's in
say,
it for you.
I'll do a review of it. Great. But who's going
Yeah.
to see it? You know?
Correct.
I think that's fantastic, Sean. Uh, and then Carlos says tomato, John. And then Sean said, and as a pretty green creator in this space, I'll take any expert advice. Carlos Sanchez, I know, I hope that you're where you can chime in. I don't know if you're driving or not. I know you've been working some long days, but if you have a second, I'd love it if you added from a brand perspective how you prefer for creators to approach you, because I
Mhm.
think that would be valuable info as well.
Seeing it from
Uh,
the other side.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, they've got brands have a limited budget on stuff. They're not just sending you stuff.
Right.
This comes out of their budget, like I
Mhm.
said. So, George Risto, what's up, man? He said, "Good morning, guys. Good morning,
Good
George."
morning. Good morning.
And Dustin says, "Morning, class. Good morning. What's up,
Good
Dustin?"
morning.
Let's see here. So,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
do know, like, and I think we talked about this a while ago, especially like way before, the Super Bowl, on how big brands use their marketing dollars, and they're like,
Yeah,
how much it costs for just a 30-second spot
yeah,
during the Super Bowl commercials, for a Super Bowl
yeah,
commercial. And that, the likelihood of people watching those, usually people watch those commercials on like the replay, because they use that time to kind of run to the restroom, grab a bite, they're talking with folks or whatever. And it's like, well, brands typically use their marketing dollars for where they can get the most engagement. And
yeah,
so there was actually several, articles and discussion podcasts that talked about how a lot of big brands are using their marketing dollars for those middle or newer content creators because of the engagement. So
Yes.
it's more it's more raw, it's genuine, but you're able to get to more people and the engagement to build that buzz for
Yeah.
those brands. And so they're getting the bigger bang for their buck for those middle and newer tier content creators.
I agree.
So I guess it's again, the opportunity is there
Yep.
because brands want to be able to invest in in content creators to bring awareness to their brands.
All right. So that was the question of the day. Make sure you guys comment in the chat with your answer, or if
Mhm.
you're in the replay gang, reply to the pinned comment. Looks like we got one more. Carlos said he's on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Drive
All right.
safe.
So do not do not answer now. All
No.
right, when you get where you're going, or actually, it's probably be better. Just if you don't mind, just post it as a comment once this is on replay. I
Yeah.
think that's probably even better. That's probably
Yeah.
even better. All right. I appreciate you watching, Carlos, or listening. Don't watch.
Listen, don't
Do
watch.
not watch. Do not watch. Just listen.
Listen.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. So let's move on. I think this is really cool. It is Women's History Month, and RitFit once again is observing with a celebration. And so let's go ahead and share that here. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Guess what I forgot to do on the first screen share of the day. Second screen share of the day. There we go. All right, now we got that out the way. You know, there's some formalities that got to be observed.
Standards.
So this is the RitFit Women's History Month celebration, and
Mhm.
Naomi, you have a pretty significant history with the Women's History Month thing because you helped out. Go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
I mean, last year they did a highlight of, what does strength mean to you, kind of series. And so I answered a few questions, and it was a few other content creators that also participated in it, and the Women's Strength or Focused campaign. And so it was really cool that they're doing this again, highlighting, women and strength. And just, I mean, RitFit really does look
Yeah.
at, support when it comes down to their equipment, their designs. They really listen. They've been one of those pivotal pieces in my daily arsenal, with my weight loss journey, with my strength journey, with my sports journey. So they are staying true to their, their brand. So yeah.
Yeah, I think they've got it's not just the stuff that they have um, on Instagram. They've got some really cool
Yeah.
stuff on Instagram, but they've
Mhm.
also got tiered sales. So
Mhm.
the best sellers are going to be 12% off. I believe that's all month. And then the pink series is going to be 13% off. And then you can just save 8% off site
Mhm.
wide because obviously there could be some things that you want that, like, for example, aren't pink, but you
Mhm.
just kind of want it. So, I'm trying to think of an example, but maybe like their bumper plates or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but I will say that I really love the things that they're doing like on Instagram. So for example, this one, I think you said you saw this one. Is this the one that you said you saw?
I've seen all of them.
Okay, well, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. So that's the leopard bar, and I figured this would
Mhm.
just be an easier way rather than just going through the
Mhm.
website. Now you get to see their stuff, in
Mhm.
use, right?
Right.
Um,
And
and
their aura
then
grip
you
weights
know,
are really, really good.
you guys can check out. Naomi did a review of the Aura Spin that's on our channel. We've got a few YouTube shorts for it, but you guys can check that out.
Mhm.
Then I want to say this one shows Aura Spin. So if you're the sort of person that wants to work out by the pool for whatever reason, there you go. Uh, and I guess if you want to use your fur coat as a mat, I'm not here to stop you. But in any case, what I love is that hey, I'm not here to run people's lives. Okay, I partially let you run mine. All right,
Yeah.
it's too much for me to keep track of. So anyway, I'm just saying that I like how RitFit isn't just one of those, you know, kind of lip service things. They're not paying just
No.
lip service to it. They're actually really invested in it, and I love that. And speaking of investment in their customers, I want to encourage you guys. So I'm going to continue to put comments on the mermaid bar video. I will put that link in the description for this one.
Yes.
Keep on watch the video so you see what the mermaid bar is. Keep on putting comments there. And I've thought about it a little bit. If you have seen any other bar that's like it and you kind of were like on the fence about buying that other one, let RitFit know that as well, because they need to know that, hey, they could potentially, they're leaving money on the table just by not making the bar. So go ahead, post your comments on the mermaid bar video. Okay.
Love that mermaid bar. I mean,
she literally uses it all the time.
If I could take it with me, because I have work travel coming up, if I could take it with me to where I'm going to be so I can stay consistent, I would. But it's home, and I'll be using it again today with my workout. So it's awesome. It's an awesome bar.
Shout out to the 3,160 of you guys who are watching. Please hit the like button, hit subscribe for me. Also, if you guys would like to support the channel by becoming members, click that join button. You'll support the channel. It's less than $1 a month. It's 99 cents a month, and all that money goes right back into the channel. Okay, so if you've already subscribed and you're not a channel member, please consider clicking that join button to support the channel. Yeah, so we got some more people in here. Carp, I think. Yeah, there's Carp arrived. He says, "Yep, we can't convene a weekly meeting of the FOC, the Friends of Carp, without him here. So now officially begin." And Kevin answered the question of the day. He said, "Find the angle where you are unique and only you can provide that kind of supply, and then you create demand." So I like that.
That's a good one.
Especially the part about finding the angle where you're unique. I like that because Kevin is really, if not the only, one of the few home gym content creators in Japan. So I would assume that when he approaches a brand, he has to explain to them what a home gym content creator is before he can even get to the point like, hey, I want to work with you. So of course he does have some stuff with RitFit, and he has proof from that, but just initially it's like, hey, how do I explain what I do for you to understand what it is and see where the value is? So
well, his most recent video that he has done, to just hear that inner voice of how he creates and the things that he does when it comes down to like home gym, but how it's personal to him, like I said, it really was touching.
I love that video.
That was a great video,
and I loved it because it didn't require a ton of technology.
No, it was
the way
raw.
He shot it was was still really cinematic.
Yeah,
I loved it, man. You see, we've been talking about that video, Kevin, which is what you're trying to accomplish. You're right. Whenever you make a video, you want to make, or a piece of content, you want people to still be talking about it a week, 2 weeks, a month later. And we've talked about it offline, Naomi and I. So well done, man. Carlos said, so Barbie is back in the gym. Hey, look, annually, let's see here. I think it's funny that they didn't use isn't it the Lizzo song? I like Pink. Like there's a song about liking Pink or something like that.
As much as I love music, you want me to go ahead and name who the artist is? Now, if
it's from the Barbie. It's from the Barbie movie. So it's this thing about Pink. And the only reason I know that is because I was looking for a soundtrack for your Pink keyboard, and that popped up as one of the results. So there you go. That's the extent of the file I have on Lizzo. All right. Anyway, Carp said when you love your equipment, you use it more. And Sean said it might need its own segment, mermaid sighting or mermaid updates.
What's funny is I've actually had other mermaid-isk or like email or text messages or that's been sent to me like, oh, here's something else that's mermaid, in
mermaid
coloring,
glasses,
those kind
cars,
of things. Pistol. So it's like
mermaid pistol.
That's
and
I was like, well, that's pretty. It's like accessories, it matters.
Hey,
it matters.
Hey, so let's see here. Here we go. I knew I was as I was talking about Lizzo, I said this is a mistake. It's
You
okay, John,
you
listener of the
opened the
Lizzo.
door. You did it to
And
yourself.
here's me shutting it. Click. All right. We're 5 months away from Home Gym Con. Let's go ahead and
Yes.
jump into that. Uh, let's see here. Go ahead and share that. So you guys already are, or most of you watching this should know that Home Gym Con is coming, but there may be some of you who don't know everything that's going on. So a lot of you know Brian Shaw is going to be there. High Rocks is also going to be at Home Gym Con. There's a full vendor list. There are, I mean, we're like what 5 months or so away from Home Gym Con
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to experiencing, Naomi?
I mean, I would like to be able to see some of the sporting events, some of the strength events,
Yeah,
because that's something that I liked doing when we went to the Arnold. But I think what I first would love to see is just seeing all of you guys, you know, just
yeah,
reconnecting and seeing you guys. Yes, it's great, with text message or, with the YouTube or with Instagram messaging, or of course, our Friday morning get togethers are always wonderful, but
yeah,
just experiencing it um, in person. I think with the our live show, doing this live last year, it being our first live show was
yeah,
really really cool. There was laughter, there was tears, there were
yeah,
giveaways. It was a lot of fun. But then reconnecting with um, our the brands that we've worked with over the years, but also getting a chance to check out some of the newer brands too, some
yeah.
of the smaller brands.
And that's something that we're gonna do a little bit more of, is checking out some of the smaller brands
Hmm.
this year. It was kind of chaotic last time trying to figure, and also there wasn't as much time. This year, there's going to be an extra day added, so we have more time to go around and see stuff. So we're gonna make a conscious effort to check out some of the smaller brands. And we've got something special planned with Anchor that I'll
Hmm.
let you guys know about when we get a little bit closer to it. But I can tell you right now that once again, we will be having our live show
Hmm.
before on the Friday morning before Home Gym Con. So it's technically every other year it's been before Home Gym Con started. It's not going to be like that this time because Home Gym Con starts on Thursday.
Hmm.
But the morning, Friday morning, we're still going to have the live show. What we will do is have better signs to give you guys guidance on how to find where the event is going to be. But
Hmm.
for those of you who were there last year, the plan is to have it in the same room. Okay,
And this year we will have cinnamon rolls.
that's right. Hey, Kenzie's mom is bringing cinnamon rolls. So if if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
And Trevor, we're probably going to break that rule because we
Yeah,
laughed and we cried last year at the live show. So
yeah.
he said there's no crying at Home Gym Con 2026. I cannot make that promise
We
at this
cannot
time.
guarantee that.
I cannot. Uh, so let's see here. I will also say one other cool thing is there are going to be more days, but the
Hmm.
days will be shorter. So we'll have more time to just kind of hang out a little bit
Hmm.
in the evening. And that's going to be good news for my knees because you know,
Yeah.
those concrete floors, they were rough on my knee. My knees are veterans of the Marine Corps as well, so that was rough.
I think that was like what advice is definitely, if you're going to be there all day, definitely plan to have some kind of hyper ice that's going
Hey,
in the car first first
heck yeah,
thing.
heck yeah.
And then I had like a review that I did a long, long time ago, but it's like a foot massager that's staying in the hotel room, because it does all the pressure points and everything else. Yes.
Yep.
Um, the hyperice will most likely come with us to the site. So, cycle
Oh
in,
wow.
cycle out. Um,
Hey, and
so
before anybody asks, like that old commercial said, no, my brother, you got to get your own. We will not be sharing the hyperized boots with anybody. All right. Uh, so Jared said it's just a trick finding an open door at that hour to the convention center. So just like last year, we're gonna have somebody stationed at the door to let you in.
yeah.
So yeah. Trevor said, say more about the foot massager. I will find the link to it and post it here in the live chat if I can find it quickly enough. If not, I'll just put it in the video description, Trevor. But it's really cool because it's one of those things that people would assume that we used once and stopped using, but Naomi still has it.
It's
She's
right
still
here
using it.
next to my desk.
That's
So
right. That's it. All right. We've got a little bit of time. And I just want to say that the first episode of Mailbag Mondays was a success. First of all, we had more viewers than I expected. So shout out to all you guys who showed up.
Thanks.
And shout out to Andrew from Bells of Steel for dropping by to answer a question. And I'll just go ahead and I'll play this clip from Andrew so you guys can see that. This is from J Kent 58, and he said he wants to know why Bells of Steel doesn't offer a Manticore version or a 1-inch version. For those of you who don't know the difference between the Hydra and the Manticore, it's like the one attachment for all brands that's offered in 5/8, not 1-inch, not vice versa. So let's go ahead and I brought in an expert. So why doesn't Bells of Steel offer the Hydra monolift attachments in 1-inch?
Yeah, it's actually super simple, maybe overly simple answer is we had a design for the 5/8 with the spring collar on it or the spring on it, and we just didn't like the design as much as we thought we were. So we went with the more of the counterweight style, and we always do a test run market first. So we do a purchase order, we do a test market, do feedback, and then move forward. And we always test them 5/8 first. So pure and simple, we changed the design. We like the new design, and we just have to do a purchase order now for the 1-inch. So the product will be coming. It's just we had to do research in the market first. And that's as simple as it gets for us on that.
So essentially, if the 5/8 sells well enough, and there's as I just learned this on Saturday, in England they don't say slash, they say stroke. So and stroke or if there's enough demand for a 1-inch version, then Bells will consider a 1-inch version.
Yeah, so we always do our testing on our 5/8 line, and if that 5/8 line is successful, then we will move forward. I don't think we've had anything that's been Manticore first. So we'll always do the 5/8 line. If the 5/8 line is successful and we like everything that we see, we'll then go to the 1-inch since it's a more limited line.
Right.
And then basically from there, we'll then make it the 60 mil as well. So
nice.
It's kind of 5/8, 1-inch, 60 mil is how
that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. So once again, shout out to Andrew for doing that. He actually just stopped by, answered that question, and he would have answered more, but we only had like 2, maybe 3 Bells of Steel questions. So he answered that one, and then I let him go back to work. But I really appreciate him stopping by. And the more people we get watching Mailbag Mondays, the easier it'll be to get brands to stop by to answer your questions about their products, especially if it's something that we have done reviews on. So Trevor, I just posted the link to that massager in the live chat, and I will still post it in the video description. So if you have any questions about it, because Naomi's getting ready to get off of here, she's gonna stay for Recliner Raise this time, but she's after that she's gonna be heading out. So if you have any questions, and I haven't used it, so if you have any questions about it, just post your questions in the comments on that video that I posted a link on, and then we'll answer it during Mailbag Monday. All right. Let's see here. Carp said Manticore monolift option would be nice. Dude, I agree. You know what? It's funny because I wouldn't have the Frankenstein uprights if the monolift attachments if I had known monolift attachments were available in 1-inch from anyone, because I didn't know about the Irwins or anything else like that at the time. So I went with the Frankenstein so specifically so I could still use the monolift attachments, and then also be able to use my 1-inch attachments again. And so that's kind of how that worked out. So it works out. Jared said he still likes the spring for the Hydras, and that's probably a losing battle. But I'm sure that there are enough people out there who agree with you that, because obviously they sold out of the old ones. So I say that the counterweight version that I have works well for me, and I'm pretty happy with it. Let's see here. And let's one more thing before we go Recliner Rage. You guys, we are up on Gym Radar. So if you're on there as well, go ahead and check out our account on Gym Radar. And let me go ahead and share the screen real quick so you guys can see it. Right here. All right. So I'm proud of myself because I actually filled out some stuff. So you guys got to look up Habitat for Muscularity. Those aren't the best pictures I've ever taken. The other day when I was running down the stairs, Naomi, that's what I was doing. I was running down.
That's what pictures. I was wondering why all of a sudden the garage door opened.
Yeah.
And then
I was
the garage door
I got to put pictures.
Came to a snap down and
ran downstairs, took pictures, ran back upstairs, right?
The drawbacks from having your office right next to the gym. You never know what I was like, what equipment is showing up today? That's the only thought I've had when the garage door opened.
I have no idea what this I think the equipment listing might be like stuff you want, but I don't know because it's still a work in progress. But I have, if you look at it, listed all of the equipment that we do have. So it's got a list of all our equipment, shows where we are, roughly, and the top equipment brands that we like. So it's a really useful site. At this time, we are only following one gym, and that is Rex Peckinpah, and that is primarily because he came on Mailbag Monday and asked me if I was on Gym Radar. I said yeah, and I said, hey man, I'll follow you, and so I followed him. But I do plan on following. At this point, I'll follow anybody back who follows us as I get used to the site. And I keep saying where I normally say we, because the chances of Naomi spending a ton of time on there with her schedule are, the chance slim. But I'll never say never, but the chance of her going on Gym Radar is fairly slim.
I'll just stalk your page and add to it. How's that sound?
It's good enough. Fine by me. The other thing is, as far as reviews, we don't have any reviews. And I don't know if I'll post any or if I'll just do like maybe a little synopsis and then have a link to our reviews in other places. I don't even know if that's possible, but I just want to let you guys know that we are on there and we he said offense taken. How long I've been saying, where's the unsubscribe button? Hey, look. Okay. Well, there you go. He said, I found you on Gym Radar. Okay. So I have to, in my defense, I did search for your name. In fact, I'll do it right now because I would not be accused of this. All right. So Chris is backstage watching this. Chris, watch me defend myself, man. So, all right, here we go. So I go to gyms. All right. And Jared Martin. All right. Boom. Now watch the thing. Oh, look at that. No gyms found. All right. Now let's just search all people named Jared. All right. Well, look at that. Wow. And that's why I'm not following you. Okay. I'm just saying. I couldn't. So I see what you said. I see now you said search Freedom Gym, but you ain't tell me that before when we were talking about it on Instagram and you could have shared that information with me, Jared, but you didn't. So there you go.
So go back and search Freedom Gym.
Okay. All right. This is fine. Normally I'd be like, why are we doing this? But this is prepping me. It's getting me in the right frame of mind for Recliner Rage. So let's go. So Freedom.
No, we support.
Support what?
We support each other. There
he is. Okay. Oh, well, I mean, if you got a secret, it ain't my fault you got like a secret code for how to follow you, whatever. All right. So now I'm following you. Moving right along. Because it is now 6:49 and we're and I will not allow us to skip the most popular segment of the show. All right, Chris, I don't know if you've ever watched the show, but you're in for a treat because it is time for me to crash out and lash out at injustice. Recliner Rage. It's the Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage because he's not happy.
Okay, so I know you back there. I'm going to still screen. I'm gonna bring you back. All right, you just stay right there, Naomi, because you'll be right back in a second. All right, it's time for the most popular segment, Recliner Rage. Okay, today's Recliner Rage is dedicated to the great gym towel conspiracy. Yeah, I said it. Okay, let's begin by clarifying. This is important. Naomi does not use gym towels. She wipes her face with the hem of her tank top or whatever shirt she's wearing. She does not use the gym towel, okay? Only reason she has gym towels is because when we were at the RitFit showroom in August, she won a gym towel. In fact, go ahead. How did you win a gym towel again?
I attempted the hang time. I mean,
okay, the hang time.
Yeah, I
All
attempted it. It was sad.
Basically, you're hanging from a bar. It was a bar hang for time.
I did it.
Yeah. All right, so she did it. All right. Now, before I was not aware that she won a towel from that. Okay, but then I won a $500 gift card because for a few minutes I was the only person that was able to lift the 220-pound dumbbell, RitFit dumbbell, right? And then I showed somebody else. I kind of coached somebody else, and then he was able to do it. And then I think one other person might have done it, but a bunch of people had failed before me. I get up there to the point where they didn't believe I could do it, so they didn't even bother recording me do it. So I am still going down in history as the only person to lift that dumbbell one-handed twice, okay? And because of that, I won a $500 gift card. But I was like, look, you guys, honestly, they had us go out there, and I was like, you guys send us enough stuff, so we don't need this. I tell you what, just give us 2 gym towels, one for me, one for Naomi. So Naomi's 2 towels are pink. Mine is gray, a dark gray. All right. Come back home. I started using it. I'm like, oh, Naomi's towels are folded up and on the shelf, unused, pristine condition. All right. All right. Resale value is high. Okay. So I take them. I use mine though. Okay. In fact, I wanted to use mine last night, but it's in the wash, which is how we got to this point. So I used my towel. I said, you know what? I'm going to order another one. I reached out to RitFit. Hey, can you send me another? In fact, no, they reached out and said, hey, do we have anything else that you want us to send you so you guys can check it out? I said, yeah, I told them so, and said, oh, by the way, can you send me another gym towel? I'm sorry, we're out of stock of gym towels. Who goes out of stock of gym towels? Back to that in a second. So, all right, you know what would actually be better is, why don't we get gym towels? Because this is me thinking proactively. Let's get gym towels from all the brands we use. That way, if I'm doing a Bells of Steel video, I don't have a RitFit towel in the video. So I reached out to Bells of Steel, reached out to Iron Bull Strength. Isaac from Iron Bull Strength laughed at me. He's like, what do you even need a gym towel for? Because he's in a public gym, okay? I feel like he's lost touch with his roots in the home gym, all right? Well, he's not in a public gym. He's in the company gym. Whatever. The point is, he laughed at me. He questioned my manhood because I want to wipe my face with a towel, all right? Like a civilized person, right? Fine, keep your gym towel. So then I said, I checked Bells of Steel. And we had the chance to get some stuff from Bells of Steel recently. And one of the things they had was a gym towel.
It was microfiber,
good Christian microfiber gym towel. And keep in mind, we're looking on the Indianapolis site. That's important. Right here in America, right in the center. Okay. I placed the order for all the stuff. And a couple of days ago, everything shows up. I'm super excited. We get all the stuff. In fact, I used the D handles during Monday's workout. Everything's great. You know what didn't show up? Yeah, that's right, my gym towel. Why did my gym towel not show up? Thank you for asking, Naomi.
I didn't.
You see, she's laughing because she knows. She knows why. Because they shipped it from Canada for some strange reason, because they're out of stock. It didn't say out of stock on the website, but it's out of stock in America. They shipped the gym towel from Canada. So you know what? My gym towel had to clear customs. Whoever heard of a gym towel having to clear customs? That's how you know it's a conspiracy. And now Naomi solidified it yesterday when she explained to me why. So I'm going to give you the full screen. Here, what's going on? Explain.
The only thing I can think of is, again, anything that comes into the country, we have imports and exports. So you have duties that are due. And because there may be cotton that's, there's so much percentage of cotton you can use.
Which is ludicrous.
It's not ludicrous.
My towel is held up because of the percentage of cotton that's in it. Is there a cotton scanner?
Everything we have, has, there's the bills of lading and, and duties, rule book for imports and exports. If you want anything to fall asleep on, read that. I did imports and exports almost 30 years ago. No, almost 25 years ago. Oh my God.
Almost as long as I've been waiting for my gym towel. Let's just say that.
Well, I think what's funny, because I was actually thinking about
This
it. I
ain't
was like,
funny.
you know, it's
I'm
actually
getting hot now.
hilarious. That sounds like a personal problem. I think they have a
If
picture
only I
of
had a gym
you,
towel.
a picture of you and anything that looks like any form of terry cloth, microfiber, waffle pattern, anything that looks like a towel.
Anything looks like I might enjoy it. It might
You're
improve
like,
my life,
hold this.
my quality of life. A gym towel. And
It's a-
furthermore, let's go back to this. You said the amount of cotton in it. It's a towel. So who is the lonely person that came up with how much cotton something can have before they got to scan it at the border? And how would you determine whether something has too much cotton?
U.S. government.
But how are you going to determine, oh, well, this one looks like, is there a scale? Is there a scanner?
Well, when
is there
you
just one person that comes by and rubs it between their fingers to see if there's too much cotton?
When you
What is this? That's what my
purchase-
tax money is going to. I risked my life for this country. You see that knife? Okay. I risked my life for this country, and I was defending gym towels being held up at the border.
Your t-shirt has so much polyester blend, so much cotton, so much. I'm just saying.
My t-shirt.
Everything that's purchased or manufactured in or out of this country has a certain percentage that they have to use within it to maintain their duties. And so I was just like thinking about it. I was like, oh, it could be that, or it could just simply be the fact that you tend to crash out on something simple as a gym towel. I think your picture, as well as anything that starts with the word or ends with the word towel, could be held up. I think it is a conspiracy against you.
Thank you. It's a conspiracy. It's a towel conspiracy. That's all I'm trying to say.
And I think it's funny.
It ain't.
And may the odds be ever in your favor of getting your towel.
Thank you. I appreciate that support, Naomi. I'm going to let you go now. Go ahead and let everybody know how they can keep up with what you got going on YouTube and on Instagram.
Yep. Check it out on Naomi Harris Greaves on YouTube, or just Naomi Greaves on Instagram. And you can just join me there. And of course, I am here at Garage Gym Life. So thanks so very much, everybody.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, baby. I will talk to you later. And no floppy bacon, just do the right thing.
Bacon.
When you're cooking that bacon, just think, how would Jesus cook bacon? That's all I'm saying. Okay, thank you. Talk to you later. You got to take care of the school. You got stuff to do. You can't stay. Love you. Bye-bye. All right. Okay, so I'm going to calm down, even though in the face of this injustice, I'm going to calm down because we got to bring LinkedIn in here, and now we got to be professional. I'm going to wipe my face, and can't have them seeing that what I'm going through here. But let's go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff here. Let's do two reviews and before we get LinkedIn in here, because it looks like we've got too many characters in this right here. We got to figure out how to go. We're gonna have to figure out how to get some of these characters out of here. And all right, there we go. All right, perfect. All right, let's add LinkedIn to the stage. Okay, it is 6:58 in the morning. So that's close enough for me, close enough to 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 a.m. Central for my taste. Shout out to the Central Time Zone. We appreciate all of you guys for starting your Friday out by getting up way too early with Garage Gym Life. We are heading into the second hour of the show. And if you are watching on LinkedIn, please do me a favor and make sure that you are following our show page, Up Way Too Early with Garage Gym Life, so that you do not miss a single episode as we continue to interview the most influential business owners, CEOs, content creators, people who influence the at-home fitness community. And that includes today's guest. His name is Chris Spagnese, and that was a complete guess on how to say his name, but Chris Spagnese from the Strength and Steel Reviews YouTube channel. So Chris is... This is the first person I've been able to describe this way, but Chris is an adventurer who's traveled to, I want to say, more than 10 countries. He's trained MMA. He pursued a career in law enforcement before becoming a high school English teacher. Not sure which one's more dangerous. Today, he's a coach and a product reviewer with several product videos that have over 20,000 views. So if you are a brand that's interested in collaborating with Chris, I'll warn you, he can be tough to reach because he actually hates social media. Well, maybe he just hates Instagram. But fortunately, I will have his contact information in the show description, and we'll also share his best contact, ask him to share it during this interview. So, Chris, are you ready? All right, he's ready to go. So, everybody, warm welcome for Chris Pugnisi.
All right. The music?
So, you're in violation already. We got a standing rule: no deeper voices than mine on my show. All right.
I can't control it. I've been told my entire life I sound like a Neanderthal. This is what you get.
I'm just saying. All right. Well, we'll figure out something. Man, thanks for getting up way too early with Garage in Life, dude. Appreciate you being here. And in fact, I'll tell you that we had an early, one of the earliest chats said it was from Sean from Colonial Barbell Club. See if I can find it. He said he's a huge fan of everybody in the thumbnail. And let's see here. Yep, they're right there. He said, I'm a fan of all the people in that thumbnail. So, you're on the thumbnail. So he is officially a fan of yours. And honestly, so am I after checking out your stuff. I like how you approach content creation, the integrity that you approach it with. And I love your why. You did an interview with Lauren Campbell, who was, I believe, was a high school student. This is while you were a teacher at T.C. Roberson High School. And you said, my goal is to be a hero. I want to have an influence. I'm going to die one day, and I just want to know that I left having some sort of positive impact on the world around me. I want my life to have purpose and meaning. First of all, I see the shock on your face that I found that quote. You're like, what in the world?
Yeah, I mean, keep going.
He said, how? So my question is, how is what you do now, both on YouTube and training your clients, helping you to fulfill that mission?
I can't believe you found that. That's so crazy. That is the first high school that I taught at.
Investigative journalist. It's a lot easier than you would think. So I got this is a fairly, well, let me condense it. I searched your name, and then I did searches for everything connected to your name. And then I searched so I found your LinkedIn profile. And then from there, I looked for places where you have been, interviews with Chris Pugnisi. And that one I do a lot of times. Give away all my secrets, Chris. One of the reasons I do that is because I don't like to ask people stuff that they've been asked before. You know what I mean? I don't want to ask you stuff you've had to answer a bunch of times. So I go and I listen. And this is partly why it takes longer for me to, I don't just say, okay, well, hey, come on the show tomorrow, because I want to have time to go through this process. And I go through, I listen to what you've said, and then I try to come up with questions based upon what you've said in the past, if that makes sense. All right. But yeah, so how is you want to leave an influence, you want to have a positive impact on the world. How's what you do on YouTube and with your clients, how's that helping you fulfill that?
Well, I guess in some ways it is, and in some ways it doesn't feel like it is. You mentioned before that I hate social media, and then you kind of pull back a little bit. I do. I struggle with it. I struggle with interacting with people online sometimes because it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel tangible. I grew up in a big Italian family, and everybody's always talking all the time. We're all together all the time. So that's why I got into teaching. I loved making people feel safe. Like, that's kind of my thing.
Okay.
I like making people feel safe. I'm really good at it, like as a human being, because I try to be me everywhere I go. Learning how to do that on camera, like you figured that out. You've got this big, vibrant, colorful personality. I've been watching you. How long have you been doing this? Before I fully answer your question, though I'm not going to over answer it, I will answer it
that's
directly.
fine. It's a conversation. It's fine. I embrace tangents. Which you'll know that's a promise and a warning. So I was coincidentally an English major in college, and I was going to be a reporter. And so I went through, got all the way to graduation. I'm sorry, the summer before graduation, did my internship with a local newspaper. And I had to, the thing that stopped me from being a reporter was I had to spend about 3 weeks. It felt like the entire summer, but it really was just 3 weeks, chasing some politicians around, trying to get a straight answer to a question about why they had yet to approve or vote, not even approve, but vote on a special purpose local option sales tax. And my editor said, go and find out why they haven't brought this thing to a vote yet. Okay. And so, I mean, it took some work to get them to finally answer me. I got some answers. I freely admit to instigating because I waited. Somebody made the mistake of saying, well, it's not really, we still got plenty of time, and I guess we just kind of get together and, we're all friends and we just get so wrapped up in just, getting and, working together that we kind of never got to actually bring it to a vote. I said, okay. I said, I appreciate that. So then I called somebody from the other party and I said, yeah, so just reaching out for a comment here because I don't remember if it was Democrats or Republicans, but I just said, so the other guy said that this isn't really something we should be worried about. It's not a big deal and there's plenty of time. He said, it's not plenty of time. I said, oh, well, would you care to go on record? And then, so I had to do that, and I got the story written and I called my dad, who was a journalist for like 40 years. And I said, Daddy, I don't think I can do this for my entire life. Chasing adults around trying to get a straight answer. This doesn't feel right. And so I turned my part-time job at a local gym into a full-time job and kind of started my journey there. So.
But how long have you been doing this early morning podcast specifically?
This is year 3. This is year 3. Yeah, year 3. It was rough. We had our first year anniversary a few weeks ago, and what we do is every year we have the guest from that first episode, we bring him back and we catch is Mike Reed from Microgains, and we bring him back and we catch up on what's been going on with his business and we talk about what's been going on with the show. And it was so we've got 5,000, about 5,600 people watching right now. Okay, I lied, 5,700. That first episode with Mike, I don't know if we hit double digits in people watching, right?
Right, of course.
So, I mean, here, for example, here's Mike from Mike's in California. So he woke up extra early because you can imagine what time it is there. And he said he's a fan of yours. He said he loves your content. He says another fan. So we definitely didn't have that. We didn't have people in California waking up to come watch a show with 3 of their friends. You know what I mean? Because, so it's been a grind, man. But it's like the first time I don't know how it was for you when you first started training, but I know the first time I went in the gym to start, I think they started me out on focus mitts. That first jab was ugly. I don't even know where it went. Okay.
Jab? Or did you box? What did you do?
Yeah, I competed in kickboxing.
You competed in kickboxing?
I competed in kickboxing, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I got the silver medal at the IKF Nationals in 2001.
No kidding.
Yeah.
My estimation of you has grown. It's hard. How old were you?
Oh, I was still in my 20s. I want y'all to know that it has not escaped me that Chris doesn't like talking about himself, and so he has shifted it around to making me talk about myself. I'm alert to that, okay? But I'm still gonna bring us back to the question.
It isn't that I don't like it. Isn't that I don't like it. It's that I'm curious by nature, and I've been examining you. I've been watching you. You don't have much experience with me yet, but I develop connections with people just by talking to them. And you said this is a conversation. I'm treating it like a conversation, and so normal conversation. I'm going to ask questions when I have questions. and I'll answer them too. But you're an interesting guy. Like your personality. It's so big, and I
Yeah.
guess that's why you're so successful on here.
You know,
But hold on. So you said you were in your mid-20s when you competed?
yeah, because I was already in the Marine Corps by that time. So I want to say I was 27. I mean, I'm 52 now. So I'd have to I could do the math and go back because it was 2001. I'm 52 now. So yeah.
I see. Do you still train at all?
I don't train anywhere. My Shifu passed away. I have seen people who I'm interested in training with, but there's nobody close to me. So what I did was like, for example, Francis Fong's academy is about 2 hours away from me. We were under Grandmaster Joe Lewis, who has also passed away, and he was in North Carolina. So, you know, all the people who were with him are kind of far away. I did see, like I said, I see people who are interesting, but they're just far away. And then what I've done is it's called Glove Up. So I check out. I'm a member of their stuff on YouTube. So I still hit the bag. I have 2 bags. I got a combat corner bag and a Bells of Steel bag that I'm actually playing around with a little bit now.
Nice.
And then I've got my Mukjong, you know, the Wing Chun dummy. I've got that downstairs too, just for like knuckle conditioning and stuff like that. But it's like one of those things. You said that my personality is big, and I'm actually, in terms of in person, or what the kids call IRL, I'm more subdued because so I spend time okay, so just for example, the way you're sitting I couldn't do, because you know how you're in front of the windows. I can't do that. And I haven't been able to do that since I deployed to Iraq in 04, 05. And I remember we were in a market, and we were surrounded, and all of us were surrounded. This is in Fallujah, not long after we had taken the city. That's what we were there for. We helped take the city of Fallujah, and then after that, we had to do patrols and things like that. So I'm standing in this market, and you don't know where danger could be coming from, and everything's just like pinging, right? Like your spider sense is just going. And since then, I came back home, and my wife, who was just on, said that when I first got back, she said that every little thing made me jump. And she said one night I guess I was having a nightmare. I never woke up, but she said I grabbed her and rolled out of the bed and ended up on top of her. And she said, "What are you doing?" And she said, I said to her, "Oh, that was a truck." And then I fell asleep right there. So now that's all good, except now we're on the floor, and I'm like on top of her. So now we're on the floor. She said, "This is great. Thanks for being protective, but I'd like to get back up and get in the bed if that's okay." Right. But I never woke up. So in person, I spend a lot of time like observing the person. I do a lot of people watching, which I can tell you do as well. I do a lot of people watching, get the vibe of the situation. Yeah, that's it. But online, you can't have a subdued personality and be successful online, because and the reason I say that is I don't mean that you need to like scream and yell, but for one thing, this is a morning show. So if I'm here like, kind of like low energy, then I'm bringing the people who are watching down, right? And the goal for this show is to give everybody a good start to their Friday. I don't know what Monday through Thursday was like for you if you're watching, but what I'm going to try to do is make Friday at least start off in a good way. I want you to laugh, go to work feeling good, and hopefully the vibe carries on all weekend long, right? And so I kind of come out of my shell to be online like this for the sake of that. It's basically the me who I can be when I'm around people I trust, right? Because so you can see that my back is to the wall. I'm in my house. I can see lines, everything, and I know where all the exits are. So this is actually like a comfort zone for me, right? So I'm comfortable being, able to talk. And then also a lot of these people like, let's see here. Mike, who's actually a Navy veteran, says, "Stop the cap, John. I found you during a 3 a.m. workout." Okay, that's fair, but it wasn't like during the first episode. That's what I'm trying to get at. But you see, like, we've got like relationships of a sort that we've developed because I pull people out of their shell line and I'm like, hey, comment, don't just watch, even though we have people who watch with us like on their TV while they're working out. And that's how I found out that Mike was watching. I saw Instagram and I was like, who that looks like me. And I was like, it was like on the TV in his gym. He was listening to the show while he's working out. And that was just so awesome. And that kind of fuels my fire because I realized that I'm starting to have like an impact on people. So Kevin said, my man, he said, anyone being real, not being a fanboy to rep and pep and got my respect. Love the real opinions. So Kevin's in Japan and his kids he recorded a video of his kids singing laughing because they love watching Recliner Rage at their dinner table. So I was like, okay, apparently I amuse the kids with my crashing out, right? Jared had texted me. Jared told me that his kids love watching Recliner Rage and they sing the song. And his kids one of them just had a birthday. Theo just had a birthday, but they're young. They're really young kids. So that kind of thing has also made it easier for me to come out of my shell because I'm developing relationships with people. And then I did see a lot of people at in person at HomeGymCon. So I don't feel like I'm around strangers, if that makes sense.
Sure, it does.
Yeah. So what do you love most about being a home gym owner? Not just a home gym owner, but also being a content creator in the home gym space.
Man, I love working out. That's my favorite thing, 100%. The best thing about having a home gym is being able to work out all the time and try a lot of unique, silly things. I mean, I don't really care about what other people think anyway. I've been going to commercial gyms most of my life. I try to do this everywhere I go. And that's what made me a successful teacher. I didn't change who I was at home. I brought that. I'll bring that to this stream. I'll bring that to the classroom.
Right.
It's just what I am. So actually, in many ways, I do miss going to the gym sometimes. Not even because I like to walk around and develop a lot of relationships, but I did like the energy. So I'll say I miss that about having a home gym. I miss the energy. I'm kind of a reserved person. Like if you keep talking for this podcast or like this stream, I'll listen to you the whole time, and I probably won't interrupt you. I'll just listen. Number one, you're an interesting guy. Number two, I don't have to talk. I don't need to be heard. To feel valuable. And in my home gym, it is just me and I guess I love being able to have access to everything, no lines, no waiting. I love that. It's special, but I miss people.
Okay. Does your wife, Rebecca, train with you? She's a martial artist, right? I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay, you got muted for a second. So does I was asking, does your wife Rebecca, does she train with you in the home gym?
When she was a kid, she trained in Taekwondo, and I think she became a black belt.
Right.
But if you know the difference, right? Like the shopping plazas, the black belt is very different than.
Well, you said she kicks higher than you.
You heard me say that? When did I say that?
On Instagram. You posted on Instagram.
I lose track of all this stuff, man.
That's
There's
okay.
so much going on. Yeah, I know it's okay. But that's funny. That's just funny. Yeah, she can kick higher than I can, but she cannot kick anywhere near as hard or as fast.
I understand.
I promise. My roundhouse kick is absolutely brutal. That's my favorite weapon, 100%. That and my jab. I love a jab.
Okay. So does she train with you? But does she train in the gym with you? No. Okay.
Not really. She will. She's going to. But right now, she's committed to being a mother, which is a full-time job.
Heck yeah. Shout out to moms. I was
Facts.
raised by a single mom, so I understand the sacrifices. Although obviously Rebecca's not a single mom, but still, it's still huge. You know, there's something special about growing up and knowing your mom is there.
Yeah, for sure.
My dad always, he and I have a great relationship now, but I know he used to always get mad, not mad, but he'd get frustrated when we'd watch like any kind of sporting event and the players would say, "Hi, mom." He said, "How come nobody ever says hi, dad?" I was like, I don't know. There's just that connection between you and your mom, man. It's like your mom is the first person you know.
Hmm.
And a lot of times she's the first person you meet when you get to Earth.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's a special relationship. So yeah, shout out to moms. So I asked you that question about whether she trained with you because my wife and I use the gym together, right? And so that affects the equipment choices we make.
Hmm.
As an example, the knurling that I like, she thinks is too aggressive.
Yeah.
So that affects not just the bars, but the attachments. So we've got his and her cable attachments, just for example.
Mm.
I have zero use for any sort of leg press. She loves it. So she's the reason why we have a leg press hack squat. Otherwise, we wouldn't have one. But that's why I asked you, because I was, kind of going through your videos, like the one you were talking about your home gym setup mistakes, and I completely resonate with some of them. I've made some of those myself.
Mhm.
I mean, some of the same ones that you mentioned, I've made myself. But I think there's a different dynamic when it's just you making the choices versus when there are two of you, or you've got clients. You're like, well, I know that there are some people who they buy stuff because they know they're going to be training clients, so they buy stuff not necessarily for them, but this client or whatever needs to use this if they're going to be training with me here or whatever. So I was just curious about that. Let's talk about your something that you said as in that mistakes video. You set your rack up on a slant, so now you squat outside the rack. Are you still doing that?
Nah, not really. I've got it set up differently because I moved to Florida.
Right. You just went out again. Your sound just went off again. There, I heard that.
Dang. Got me?
Yeah, got you now. You moved to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now the setup is much better. I can just back directly out. But I'm not squatting that much, man. I'm really not. As I get older, I don't want to risk heavy barbell squats. I had a disc issue when I was younger. I saw you squatting the other day on Instagram with the bar. You weren't even holding it. And then you said something in the comments below about people coming after you. So gathered that you sometimes get frustrated with social media too, right?
Oh, so yes and no. So what I get frustrated by on social media is when people take a snapshot of what you're doing and assume that that's your training history. Like you started training today, right? And I, in some ways I try to take it as a compliment because the average person doesn't realize that I'm in my 50s, for example. But I've been lifting weights since 1993. And so I think it's funny because some of the things that people say to me online now, I feel like it's almost karma because it's some of the stuff I said when I was a young personal trainer to people who were in their 50s. And I just remember them not kind of like saying, yeah, okay, just wait or whatever. And now it's like, kind of role reversal because people say stuff to me. And like, I remember when training barefoot wasn't a thing and people were like convinced that, you got to, if you don't train with shoes on, you're going to die. And I remember arguing almost on a daily basis. Somebody would do a video and they say, oh, it's like, oh, watch the toes. What, and I'm like, dude.
No way.
What is that? I'm like, what's that tennis shoe going to do if I were to drop this on my foot? What's that tennis shoe going to do? Right. It's not a steel-toed Nike, right? But I started, coincidentally, I became comfortable with training barefoot once I started training at home, because when we lifted weights in martial arts and we were barefoot there, and I'm like, for that matter, if you watch Pumping Iron, there are several scenes where they're all working out barefoot because they came in from the beach and started working out. So I was like, I don't really see the big deal. So that frustrates me a little bit. But as far as people just making comments, it doesn't make me mad anymore, because I realize that it's all engagement. So in that video, I really was.
Press, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. That's 100% it. It's like, because while I don't mind responding to a troll and going back and forth, a little bit of the sarcasm comes out. But I also realize that may be a chance to educate somebody else, who doesn't understand. Maybe the shoes that you're wearing are slowly killing you, So that's it. It's an opportunity, but I don't get upset anymore. Like, I don't feel any, and I also no longer have this thing where, like you said, that you don't care what people think of you. So I'm like that in the sense that you can't say something to me on social media that's going to break me to the point where I need to take a social media detox. Because for me, this is all like a platform to get my message out and interact with people. But ultimately, if some dude from, I don't know, Hackensack, who I've never met and never going to meet, doesn't like that I train barefoot or that I do Steinborns, he can get over it the same way he got over the last thing he got over, right? Because I'm never going to see him. I'm like, who cares? And there's no point in arguing with somebody that you're never going to run into. Like, what's the point? So you got to kind of like, in my opinion, you got to kind of be like, let's make it less important.
Absolutely. Dude, we're not designed to care about the opinions of people that we do not know. We're not. So when I say I don't care about what other people think, that's a lie. I'm not telling the truth. I care about what the people that I love and understand think of me, because if I'm letting them down, then I'm letting myself down. My wife, my friends, my family. If these people who I've invested in don't approve of the man that I am or the man that I'm becoming, now we've got a concern. But if we've got Jimmy from Nebraska who's got something to say about me or the way that I train, man, I'm good. Like, I'll read it, but it doesn't even factor in, And it's the same deal with some mean dude at the supermarket down the street. I just brush it off. It has no hold over me because they don't know me. So why am I going to factor in their opinion seriously? It is our duty as influencers. I don't really like that at all, that title. I really don't. But creators, that's what you said. That's better. As creators, to acknowledge the comments, opinions, thoughts, and ideas of the people that watch our videos. And a lot of them are really nice. Most of the people that watch my videos and comment are really nice. Like, on average, they're good dudes, and most of mine are dudes. So to the few ladies that watch, I acknowledge you too. But the percentage leans favorably towards men. And they're mostly really good dudes. Silly, fun, easygoing, and they offer great suggestions. But there's always a few of the trolls. And I just look at them and I wave from afar. They hold no sway. But I do acknowledge that operating on the virtual space in itself can be sometimes complicated and uncomfortable. And I mentioned to you that Instagram can be difficult for me. And it's because there's something there that triggers the mind. The scrolling, the constant influx of images and sounds and new information. And when I indulge in that in any way, it removes me from where I am. And I'm always fighting to be where I am, exactly where I am. I don't want to be looking into my son's eyes and also wondering how my latest upload is doing. Like, I just want to be gazing into the beauty of my son's eyes. So if I'm anything that takes me out of presence, I'm skeptical of to the highest degree. Have you ever read Alan Watts?
No. What is it? Tell me about him.
He's just a philosopher from the 1950s. I'm sure plenty of people that are listening now will recognize him. He was a brilliant mind. And most of his I'm a big follower of his ideas, and I got to teach some of his work in my classroom. But it's all just about being present. And do you feel like the older you get, John, the faster that time seems to move?
Yeah. And I think that's apparently that's actually a real thing. It's like the more years you have, your actual perception of time changes. So like to a teenager, time is dragging compared to how I look at it. To me, it's like a blink of time. So yeah.
A blink in time, indeed.
Yeah.
And it's startling, right? Because you have so much more to compare it to. This is a great that these issues like time, fear of mortality, being present, these issues have existed. Have you read Marcus Aurelius? I'm not trying to dump. I am at heart an English teacher.
Yeah. So I remember I saw Marcus Aurelius. Is it the Meditations?
Yes.
Is that who I'm thinking about? Yeah. So I've seen some of his stuff. I didn't really get into it because I don't lean towards stoicism. And I realized that he wasn't necessarily like straight up stoic, but I just all right, let me say this. Let me say it a different way. A lot of the things that shape my philosophy lean more towards like what Bruce Lee was talking about.
He's great, yeah.
But it wasn't like that until I started to train. And a lot of that is because I grew up with a single mom, right? So it's like, well, how do I figure out what a man is? Right. And so I started looking for the examples of what a man is. So there's like, the idea is it Rousseau, the idea of the noble savage. So I read a lot of Conan, I read a lot of Tarzan, until, then when I got older, which is funny because I'm from West Africa. So all my older relatives thought Tarzan was hilarious. And then I got older and I said, oh yeah, that is ridiculous. But anyway, but the point is that those were some of the things that shaped how I looked at life, especially because I was smaller than a lot of my peers, partially because I skipped 2 grades when I was younger. I graduated from high school when I was 16. And so to bring it back full circle, though, to the point, I started shaping my philosophy of what life is and how to be after I started training, after I joined the Marine Corps, and then having my first son was a big one too. And then we have 4 boys now. Well, they're all adults, but 4 boys and a little girl. And the little girl also changed how I had a philosophy. And then of course my faith. I feel that the closer I get, so I believe that we're created in God's image, and the closer I get to that image, the better of a person I am. The better, because I'm closer to who I'm supposed to be. And I believe in living life on purpose. And so because I live life on purpose, everything I do, I said this last week too, it's like everything I do is like I start out, here's the accomplishment, the thing I want to do. I want the jab to land. I want to throw this jab to make him do something so I can throw my hook, right? Whatever it is, this is my desired outcome. I work backwards from it. And that includes how I want to be as a person just in life. Anything I want to do. I want to be a better husband. Okay. This is the desired outcome. What does a better husband look like? Then I compare this to the better husband, and anything that isn't the better husband got to go. Right. So I guess there's a lot of, I don't really know what to call it as far as a philosophical outlook, because it's kind of like a hodgepodge of the different influences that have come into my life.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind that not only did I grow up with a single mom, but I also left West Africa, came to a foreign country, and I was only 7. So I had to reshape what I thought of the world at a very young age. The military had just taken over the government in our country. So a bunch of different things just happened. And I guess it's kind of like how I went about the process of trying to regain control in a way as a kid. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, a part of me is always envious of Christian. A part of me is always envious of Christians, man. I just had this conversation with my aunt and a friend of hers, like last night. She so proudly pronounces that science is her God. You know, proud.
You went your sound went out again. No. Carlos said Carlos said the mics can't handle your manly tone. It happens to him all the time.
I bet.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
There, you're good. Yeah.
Manly tone.
Yeah.
Well, let me just close that. Yeah, my aunt was so proudly announcing that science is her God.
Right.
And I can tell it's something that she's ingrained in her mind. She's infused it into her personality and who she is. I'm not a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Muslim, but I'm just confused. If anybody who watches my channel knows what I'm talking about, I've said it. I don't know what's happening. I think it's beautiful, the idea of it having to do with God, like a fixed deity,
Sure,
as Alan Watts would call it. But I will say, besides my misunderstanding or my confusion or my aunt's rigid belief in science, I'm always envious of Christians because you're given a set of like principles and guidelines that you can follow. People will often, when I discuss good and evil, right and wrong, anybody who watches my channel knows I have a vague obsession with Lord of the Rings. Whenever I discuss it, people will say, well, good and evil are constructs. And I'd say, yes, they're constructed ideas, certainly. They are just like beauty is up to the eye of the beholder, so are these ideas. But having understandings provided to you of what right and wrong actually are can help steer you through the confusion of existence in life. So I see a lot of really peaceful Christians, and I'm really trying to look at them anew. I'm trying to see them now because there is a peacefulness about many devout Christians. Not all of them, certainly, because they're all people and there's so many, believers. But I am sometimes now, especially in my 30s, envious of that direction because we all rail against control and being told what to do, just like kids, adults are just big kids. But there's another part of us that wants to submit to something greater. We want to follow a set of ingrained principles and ideals that can help direct us towards becoming a better man, a better father, like you said. Having the assistance of religion, having the assistance of doctrine, man, what a fantastic asset. And I can hear you proudly like pronouncing your faith. And yes, a hodgepodge of different beliefs and understandings, but having Christianity at the center of it all, having a religion that you truly believe in your heart, that you're not just telling yourself that you believe in, man, what an asset. And I'm glad to hear that you have it. And I'm more and more every day glad to hear that others have it too, because what I'm doing sometimes feels overwhelming, but I didn't grow up with it.
So hey, Rex, what's going on, man? Rex said I finally made it. What's up, man? Glad to have you here.
Hey,
and Jared said I know some of Alan Watts. He said Chris and I could probably get along just fine. My guy Dustin, he says a bee does not waste his time trying to convince a fly that honey is sweeter than, let's go with poop, because I don't know if Caden and Haku are still up. And
nor does a lion judge the opinions of sheep. Does anybody know who said that?
I've heard a lion does not concern himself with the opinions of sheep. That sounds like a Marcus Aurelius, but who is that?
Should we wait to see if anybody gets it?
All right, this is good.
A lion, that's paraphrasing. A lion does not concern himself with the opinions of sheep. And we could just wait, but
so post that in the comments if you know the answer. No Googling. If you know the answer, post it in the comments. No Googling. We'll let you know before Chris signs off here. So Dustin said the Bruce Lee quote said, "Be like water, my friend." So I'll say that one thing I'll correct you on is Christianity at its core is not a religion. it is instead a relationship, because we believe that there is a person to whom we owe everything, including the breath in my lungs, the ability that he gives us, the air that we use to curse his name. And he does it gladly because he loves us. But because of that, the way that we act is based upon not being unworthy of what he's done for us in the sacrifice. And it's like any other relationship. Like if you and I are going to hang out, I can't do things that you don't like all the time, or else we're going to drift apart. You start doing stuff that I don't like, we're going to drift apart. And it's the same thing with a relationship with Christ. So, and for those of you, for anybody who's watching, I love this. I actually was, while you were talking, I was being thankful because I don't know when this conversation makes the last 3 years, even if this is all that comes out of it, this conversation makes it worthwhile, because that means that my Savior trusts me to represent him, to have you say that, so that I could have a chance to respond. So I appreciate that. And I'll say that the things that I went through and the little hodgepodge of philosophies are based upon things I went through that he let happen, so that I end up thinking the way I think. My favorite quote is often ascribed to Bruce Lee, but it's actually Richard Bustillo. And he said, the truth in combat is different for everyone in this style. You choose from your own experience. All right. Absorb what is useful, reject what is not, make it uniquely your own. Whatever is left, make it uniquely your own. And that is what really has made it possible for me to be malleable and kind of like look at it like, okay, why is this happening? What can I learn from it? How will it make me better in every situation? You know what I mean? So I'm a big fan of that. And to go with that, Carlos said, life is 10% of what happens to us, and it's 90% of how we react. I like that.
Absolutely. There's also a way of thinking, waiting and patience. I always think waiting, the difference between waiting is patient and patience is how you wait. You know, there's a famous Japanese samurai, Miyamoto Musashi. He's famous for, yes. And he says, once you see the way broadly, you can see it in all things. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yep.
The way I talk to you right now is the way I'm going to go talk to my wife. The way I treat you right now is the way I'm going to go treat my dogs and my friends that are arriving in this afternoon. So being real, like if I'm just being yourself, being true, being strong, believing in yourself, having character, you know, and bringing that with you, being unwavering. It's a bulwark towards managing the confusion and the struggles of life. I 100% agree with Carlos.
So I think it's Epictetus. I think I said his name correctly. He said, we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence is a habit.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. It's like, that's partly why, to kind of go back to the content creation thing, why I say, when somebody says, oh, well, it's kind of just like a hobby, I don't really know how to do it as a hobby. It's either something that's worth my time, so it's worth doing right, or it's not worth my time, so I'm not going to do it. Right. Who's the I always forget his name, and that's horrible, but he was a wrestling coach, and he was an Olympic wrestler, and then he became a wrestling coach at University of Iowa, I want to say. His name will come back to me, but he said basically, if it's important, do it every day. If it's not, don't do it at all. And it's going to bother me if I don't. I'll look it up. But Rex said, a great short synopsis of Christianity. Our relationship with our Savior is just that. It's a relationship. It's always evolving. It's always deepening. Dan Gable. There you go. Dan Gable. That's who it was. Coach Dan Gable. One of the best, most highly decorated wrestlers in Olympic wrestling history. And he said, if it's important, do it every day. Grew up on a farm. Said, if it's important, do it every day. If it's not important, don't do it at all. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I want to approach. To me, it's like that's how you do again everything. Like, why am I wasting time with YouTube if I don't want to do it well? Why do I, So let me ask you this, because it has to do. I'm starting to get like the feeling for the answers, but I want to hear you unpack it a little bit.
Sure.
I say you want to be a content creator. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it well. It's difficult to do it well unless you have some sort of income funding you, right?
Mhm.
You got to pay for the products. You got to maintain and replace cameras. You have production costs, whatever, right? Related to editing. Especially if you don't want to do it yourself, because I don't know anybody that really loves editing. But the people who watch your reviews want to know that you're giving your honest review. And I know you have affiliate links. So kind of talk about how you navigate that relationship with the affiliate links in a way that allows you to still be able to give your honest opinion. I know that it's kind of like the core of who you are, but I'm saying, like, for the sake of other content creators who are watching, mechanically, what are some things you say, oh, well, I'm going a little bit too far this way or that way, or maybe that's not even a good fit for me because I'm not going to compromise. How do you manage that?
Man, it was hard. It was hard at the beginning trying to figure this whole thing out. Just along the same lines of what we're discussing. You start learning how to do something, you don't know how to do it. That's when most people quit.
Yeah.
And so once you start creating content and I started committing to this niche. Figuring out how to do it was tough, man. I mean, trying to get equipment to actually review. There were some compromises that I had to make, or I chose to make, just to acquire back. Now, ultimately, to ensure that I am on the right track and there's no interference with my personality or my opinions, I just want anybody that I'm working with, I don't accept any equipment from if they're trying to direct me in any way. Number one, because it means that I can't just do this, whatever this is. And number two, it's complicated. I don't want to have to look at a list of bullet points and selling points and restrictions and deadlines. I don't ever like to be told what to do by anybody ever, unless I love and trust them. My wife could tell me what to do. My friends can tell me what to do. But just like I don't care about the opinions of people that I do not know, it would be hilarious to me if somebody I didn't know tried to tell me what to do. So trying to pretend like I'm willing to easily acquiesce. What's happening? To easily acquiesce and submit to somebody else's requirements of me, not an easy thing. And so now I'm in a position where I just don't do that. I'm just not doing it. I'll come up with my own equipment if I can't work with a company that's willing to give me the freedom to review it how I wish, because most of my equipment anyway is not reviewed from the perspective of like an engineer like Gluck or even Coop. They love the equipment. They love all the intricacies of it, the design, the build. I think that's cool. But man, I use the equipment because I love working out. And when I work out, I feel like me. I feel like myself. I feel free. So they're just toys to me, special toys. And I want to help my viewers understand how these toys, however they want to characterize them, may benefit them. But I'm trying to offer it through the lens of a dude who just really loves working out. And I really do. And I can't do that if I have any company breathing down my neck and trying to steer me. So now I just don't do it. If they want to direct me, I say respectfully, honorably, no thanks.
Yeah, that's fair. So we got some guesses here. So Dustin says, I know the quote, a lion is not concerned with the thoughts of opinions of sheep. He said it was used in Game of Thrones. I'm not sure where it originated from or what philosopher said it first. Uncle Reggie, hey, what's up, man? Hey, you did you get those products from Microgains? I forgot to go check your Instagram to see if you've gotten it. So I hope you got your stuff. And he said, yes, Game of Thrones. It was Tyrion Lannister, LOL. Once you said Game of Thrones, my lights went on.
Let's go. It's actually a derivative from Alexander the Great, where he said something like, but that's where they got it from. And the line from Alexander the Great is something like, "I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion."
Nice. Okay.
That is a derivative, but it's the same thing. Game of Thrones is awesome. And if anybody's watching, Night of the Seven Kingdoms is back.
Nice.
Game of Thrones is back.
Dustin said Iowa was the #1 college to wrestle for growing up. Dustin has a wrestling background, powerlifting, bodybuilding background. He said definitely a dynasty college for wrestling. Heck yeah. I mean, I didn't even wrestle, but it crosses over some of the things that Dan Gable talked about cross over into MMA. When we were training it, and Reggie said, "Sure did. Awesome." Said, "Definitely appreciate you." Hey, my pleasure, man. Anything I can. That's the whole purpose of having all of this, is to give you guys sort of like an open conduit to be able to. So what happened, just to let you know, so Microgames was on here, and because the brand was on here, Reggie was able to ask a question directly to Mike, the brand founder, and it was a product that wasn't available. And so because he realized it was available, that there was a demand for it, they were able to work out so Reggie could place his order for it, which is one of the reasons why I love doing this, because I want to give people a chance to directly connect with brands instead of kind of just seeing them filter through even me. I don't want you to see it filtered through me, because to kind of go along with what you were saying is like the way I approach any product and the way my wife does is we just use it and then we tell you if we like it or not. And what I look at it is like, okay, the standard for me is, what does it say it's supposed to do? That's the standard. How closely does it achieve that? Again, this is the desired outcome. Does it get there, right? And so if it doesn't get close to that standard, then to me, it's not a good product. If it gets sort of close, then it's, I tell you the pros and cons. But I always tell people too that whether I think something is good is filtered through my lens of my training background. So if I say this is aggressive knurling, that's subjective. People like to act like it's objective, but it's subjective because it's based upon how your callus buildup, the kind of bars you're used to using, the way you're training, your training goal. So what I think is medium knurling, you might find aggressive. Mm-hmm. What you think is not aggressive at all, I might think is horrible. Like, this is life-changing, Yeah. So it's like, I think that's one thing that would go a long way in the content creator space if people would just admit that, like, look, this is how I train. If you train like me, you have similar proportions to mine, mm-hmm. and you have my injury history or similar injury history, then my opinion is going to have more value for you. So the more closely we check each other's boxes, the more my opinion should have value for you. Dustin said, discipline is doing something you hate like you love it. That's from Mike Tyson.
Let's go, Tyson. Come on.
I don't know. Okay, so I respect your opinion. I'm not going to say he's the greatest boxer of all time, and he would say he's not the greatest boxer of all time. I'll say that. Just remember, he was a 20-year-old heavyweight champ, 20-year-old world heavyweight champion. I think that's more a feature, though, of the competition available at the time. I would argue that if they were both in their prime, Jack Johnson would destroy Mike Tyson. Mm. And I'm willing, we don't have time to discuss that now, but I'll say there's a difference between somebody who gets gassed going into because of the fast twitch muscle fibers and his engine, somebody who gets gassed after 5 rounds, and Jack Johnson being able to fight a 100-round match and still be able to hit just as hard at the end. So there's that, right?
But there is something to Tyson's pure ferocity. He would enter the ring, and there were sometimes you'd look at his opponent like they were terrified. They looked like they were about to die. It took such courage to crawl into that ring. I mean, to who, we're always talking about who's the greatest, man. They were both great.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? One thing I love about Tyson, I will say, is he is one of the biggest historians of boxing that I've ever seen, because he even got his ring entrance by watching Jack Dempsey, the Manasseh Mauler. So down to the socks with the the boots with no socks. He got that from him. I really like that. So we only got a couple more minutes before I let you get started with the rest of your day. I want to make sure that we talk about this, the Fellowship of Steel. Okay, I am a fan of Tolkien, by the way, and I have seen I want to say the Fellowship of the Ring and the Twin Towers are my two favorite movies, but also my two favorite books. But beyond that, why should the people watch the Twin Towers? Yeah,
Two Towers.
I'm sorry, the Two Towers, the Twin Towers. That's that's somewhere here in America. The Two Towers, yes. I like the Two Towers because of the whole. I like how Gandalf had the conversation, not with Saruman, but with Wormtongue, with Grima Wormtongue. Although they kind of dramatize a little bit more in the movie. I did not like that they inserted the warg scene in the movie that was not in the books. But yeah, that's on my list of all-time favorite books. But my favorite one was the first one because I liked how my favorite scene is where Frodo gets stabbed and they thought he was dead, and he turned out that's when he had to do the reveal of the mithril coat and all that. That Bilbo said, "Hey, just kind of keep it, secret. That's a little something between us, right?" I love that. Having said that, you have something called the Fellowship of Steel, and I don't want to let you out of here before you get a chance to let people know who are watching right now know why they should check it out and sign up for the Fellowship of Steel. And then let's just do this here.
Well, if they want to. Listen, the whole reason I got started with this channel, the whole reason I got into home gyms is, again, because I love working out. I've always wanted to do that, to focus on exercise. And I'm going to try gently pivoting some of my channel towards training with minimal equipment in my gym. I think a lot of people have less equipment, maybe just some dumbbells and a bench. And Strength and Steel sessions, the Fellowship of Steel, which obviously is based off of the Fellowship of the Ring, is all about that. It's about the actual training that I employ. And I do. I train every day. I say this in my videos. If my channel died today, I'd be working out this afternoon, and I'd be working out tomorrow. Be working out until I die. And that's where my real passion comes into play. I love talking about equipment, but who I am is a physical creature that exerts himself, that exercises, that pushes. I understand who I am through exercise, whether it's hiking or it's competing in martial arts or it's lifting weights in my garage. All the little dark contours of my personality that seek solace and quiet, that try to hide from me, are exposed when I work out, and I become a better man as a result. The Fellowship of Steel is just a peek as to what that looks like. It's going to be growing and changing, but it's more of me, certainly. So if you don't like that, you're definitely not going to want to join the Fellowship of Steel. But if you like Lord of the Rings references, which are inevitable if you spend any amount of time with me, and you want to learn a little bit about exercise, nutrition, anything fundamentally applicable to exercise and to working out in your garage gym or your basement gym or wherever, that is what I will be seeking to provide to you. And that's in addition to me just having fun. When I work out, I don't just work out, I have fun. And sometimes I'm just doing it out of obligation because I'm a disciplined human being and I get my work done whether I want to do it or not. But you'll see whatever shade of personality I can represent to you that day, because it will be whatever it is and I won't be hiding it. Hopefully I can provide some education and some amusing references and maybe even some entertainment by virtue of my personality. So that is what I can provide to you. If you don't want to join, that's totally cool. Just hang out with me on my normal channel. No pressure. But if you do, I'm honored to have you there.
Awesome. And that channel is Strength and Steel Reviews on YouTube. Make sure you guys are subscribing to that. Last question from me. How can a brand watching, if they like your vibe, they say, you know what, sounds like somebody who we resonate with, how could a brand contact you to discuss partnering with you to showcase their products in any way? Would it be like an email, or like how would you prefer they reach out to you?
Yeah, you could strengthandsteelreviews@gmail.com, or I swear I'm trying to get better with Instagram. DM me on Instagram. I almost missed John's message because I refuse to acknowledge Instagram completely, but I am opening the door and I'm peeking in. So I'm taking Instagram more seriously. I'm working on it. I can't promise I'm going to scroll and comment on all of my fellow home gymmers, but I'm going to get better. So DM me on Instagram or email me at strengthandsteelreviews@gmail.com.
So I'm going to say something that I just thought of. All right. First of all, let me respond to this comment here. Dustin's coming. He's throwing in the Lord of the Rings comic quotes in there, right? Not quotes, but kind of memes. So he says, "John, you shall not pass." I guess now you're the Balrog. Something else I thought about Lord of the Rings. About why I love the Two Towers is how Gimli just for some reason just started to revere Galadriel. Like that became like she was like, you're not going to talk about Galadriel in Gimli's presence. That just was kind of cool to me. Sean said, I hope you're going to HomeGymCon. You'd be a fun conversation. Are you going to go to HomeGymCon?
I am. I'm going with my crazy cousin. So she brings out strange parts of me because she's so silly.
That's going to be interesting. There we go.
Yeah. John's a cool dude. You're a cool dude. We'll definitely be talking. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Dustin said one plate to rule them all. Oh boy, here we go. And obviously he said he's a huge Lord of the Rings fan and he liked Rings of Power. So the thing I said that I just thought of is when I was getting ready to deploy to Iraq, my wife and I were in the theater watching, I don't remember what it was, but the movie with Clive Owen and King Arthur. They did a trailer for it, right? And she said, she looked at when it was going to be coming out. And she said, oh, well, we'll get to see it, but you won't get to see it. Sorry, you're going to be gone. And this kind of sums up a little bit about Instagram and how I kind of see how you see it. My answer to her was, you guys are going to watch an adventure. I'm going to go have one. And I feel like that's kind of like what the difference. Somebody, you watch Instagram, that's like looking at someone else's adventure. And I think you're just a little too busy having your own to spend a lot of time watching other people's adventures. And I love that. I respect that.
Thanks, brother.
All right, my man. Thank you for being here. We got to do this again. This is a great conversation, man. Anything I can do ever, just hit me up. I'll do what I can. All right.
You're a good man. I appreciate you having me. You've got a great show here. You're clearly doing a great job.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Take it easy, Chris. Later.
Farewell.
All right. And that was my guy, Chris Spagnisi from Strength and Steel Reviews. Make sure you guys check him out you can check him out on Instagram, but definitely the place to get most of his content is going to be on YouTube. You guys make sure you subscribe to @Strength and Steel Reviews on YouTube. Please do that. Like when I say, hey, go subscribe to this or subscribe to that, make sure you're doing that because that's kind of how I pay back these people for coming and spending their time to unpack their experiences and their wisdom and lessons learned here on the show. And this is how you let them know that it was worth their while to come spend an hour with me on YouTube. Okay, so you guys make sure, whether you're watching on replay, shout out to the replay gang. Make sure you guys subscribe to Strength and Steel Reviews on YouTube and let them know that Garage Gym Life sent you. Okay. All right. Now it is, let's see, it is 6:03 in the Mountain Time Zone. Good morning to you. Those of you who are in the Mountain Time Zone who are just joining us, make sure you do one thing before you do anything else, and that is hit like and subscribe to this channel. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, please do me a favor and follow Up Way Too Early with Garage Gym Life on LinkedIn. This is where we deep dive into the people who make the home gym community possible. And that includes the people who make the stuff that we use to work out at home, like my final guest of the day, Ryan Powell, who is the founder of Caracara Metal. This is a small family-owned fabrication shop in Central Texas. Ryan makes built-to-order products that enhance and improve a lot of the products from some of the major manufacturers in the home gym equipment industry while working a full-time job. Ryan's going to join me today to talk about some of his unique products and to give us a sneak peek at what's on the horizon for Caracara. So, Ryan, are you ready? He said, yeah, he's ready to go. If you're ready, I'm ready too. Let's go ahead and bring him on here. Ryan, thanks for getting up way too early. Garage. What's up, man? How you doing?
Just rolled out of bed.
Okay. Again with the like, I don't know what's going on today, but nobody else is allowed on the show with a deeper voice than mine. That's a violation.
Mine will get higher as I get more nervous. So.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's work on that. Oh, that's what happened. So we were talking about Lord of the Rings in the last segment. Galadriel gave Gimli. That's right. She gave Gimli, but you don't just hand out your hair to anybody. So that she knew that how he was revering her and looking up to her. So anyway, shout out to Uncle Reggie, new member of the channel. Reggie, thank you so much, man. You guys, everybody who wants to join the channel and support us, like Reggie, please, we don't hesitate. It's less than 99 cents a month, and you get access to some specific little icons that are going to be by your name. Let people know how long you've been a member. It's less than 99 cents a month, and every bit of it goes back into the channel to make it even a more dope experience for people like Ryan to come on the show and hang out and kind of let you guys in on the ins and outs of their business. So let's start here. You named your business after the crested Caracara. So then I was like, the what? So I will go research the crested Caracara because I'm a professional journalist. And I said, and you said that you admire how adaptable it is. And I was looking and I said, oh, so when I researched it, turns out, it's able to coexist with larger predators. It even is able to take advantage of their kills. Is that adaptability and ability to thrive alongside larger brands part of what guides which products you decide to make?
That's going on my website now because it's just such a good description. I wish I would have thought about it.
Hey, there you go. So, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly how it came to be.
Okay. All right. You can feel free. Have at it.
Yeah, actually, I started this in 2020 and made a piece of gym equipment. I'll share the full story. And some guy was like, oh, I want to buy that. So I needed a name. And back then, like talking about freedom was everything because we didn't have a ton of freedoms. So I called it Freedom Fabrication. I was like, okay, Freedom Fabrication. And made a couple of videos, made a website. And then like 8 months into it, my sister texted me. She's a trademark attorney. And she's like, there's already a Freedom Fabrication in Utah. Like, you can't be doing this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. And I was with my kids at the time. I have a 12-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter, and they love animals. And they're like, you should name it after this bird. It can do like all this crazy stuff. And but yeah, they were basically like, it can, kill its own meat. It'll scavenge. It lives alongside a bunch of other birds. It's super adaptable. And like, that's kind of what you're doing out there because you don't have a clue what you're doing, but you're figuring it out. So shockingly, Caracara metal was available. And I was like, oh, I could use the CNC and cut a bird into a piece of metal. Like that would work. And kind of went with it. So
off to the races. Shout out to Coach Rex Peckinpah. Thank you for the super sticker, man. It's an super sticker, dude. I really, really appreciate you, man. Anytime you guys do a super chat or you do a super sticker, that does not go unrecognized. I really appreciate you guys' support. This is my product. So, just the fact that you guys are willing to watch and to subscribe. And then when you go above and beyond like Rex did and you actually financially support the channel, that you're kind of helping me build the dream for my kids. Because one day I'm going to leave this to whichever one of my kids or grandkids want it. So Rex, thank you so much for that support, man. I appreciate you. You're the man. So hey, what's up, Dean? What's up, brother? Fellow Marine Dean Shantz. He said, Caracara, what's up, man?
Dean's the man.
Hey,
funny story about Dean. Within like my first month of gaining some traction, I was struggling with my plasma cutter, and I don't know if I shared it in a story or something, but he just sent me a DM and he's like, here's my number, call me. And like, I didn't have any followers, didn't really have any products, and for the next hour, he was just sharing ideas on how I could improve, things that could be wrong with it. Literally just open book,
paying it forward.
Like just didn't care about, any of his own products, just whatever he could do to help me out. And continually, like anytime he sees something on Instagram, he's offering tips, answers every question I have. Just total legit guy. And that's actually been consistent with many people in the home gym community, which is so rewarding, as everyone's super quick, like Porter, super quick, just like call me. Talk.
Man, so Dean says, good morning, gentlemen. Way too early. Hey, you know it, dude. You're probably on your second cup of Lifer's juice right now. That's coffee. That's what we call them, Marine Corps. Jared says, here we go again. Dean will bend over backwards to help people in the home gym community. And Jared also asked, are we going to go through his store? I'm totally unfamiliar with Ryan in his shop. Come on, Jared, look who you're talking to. I can't believe you even thought you had to ask, knowing that I got this ready to go right there. So yeah, we are going to go through the products. And actually I'll go right here to the about page, because that's where I saw the street parking shirt. I'm a big fan of what Miranda and Julian have built. Do you still train with them in terms of your personal style of training?
Yeah. I follow street parking. So I started CrossFit in 2008, and I don't know, people love or hate CrossFit. So, but I started in 2008 and have loved it ever since.
Yeah.
And, was a trainer at a gym and co-founded one, and then was a member of affiliates for years, and then had kids and was like, okay, this is really hard to make it to the CrossFit gym. So in 2016, started building out my home gym. And when we had one kid, like my wife and I could still train a good amount, but as soon as our second came along, my wife was finding it really hard to train. And we came across street parking, and it was like pair of dumbbells in a box.
I've heard that story so many times.
And my wife would do it. We were living in Chicago at the time. It was too cold to go out to the garage for her and like take the 2-year-old and the 6-month-old. So she would just do street parking in the family room. And she did it for about a year. And it wasn't until we moved to Texas and she'd been on it for a year. And I was like, it's time for me to stop writing my own programming and jump on street parking. So I started it in 2021, and I love it. A little something for everyone. You can hit a traditional CrossFit workout, or you could just get in there and bench, which I make sure I do at least like twice a week. And they've got like some good rewards, good apps. So still following it. I worked with Miranda. I worked for CrossFit HQ for a number of years as a video editor. So yeah, just a big fan of what they're doing.
Oh yeah. I think what was super, so I mean, they've done some stuff to really help me out when we were kind of trying to get some traction for Garage Gym Life. They helped me out with a documentary a little bit.
Cool.
And I thought that the coolest thing was, so they've built a community, right, for people who aren't familiar with street parking. And what I thought was one of the coolest things is that they actually were called to speak to a group of, I guess it was CrossFit boxes. And Julian actually got up and he was like, we shouldn't have better community with people that we train online than you have with the people who you train in real life. And that was like a quote that stuck out to me. And I love what they've built. I like that they give you like the A, the B version and the C version of the workout and all that. So yeah, I don't do CrossFit. I've never done CrossFit. But I respect people who build good community and who pour into the people who follow them. To me, they definitely give more value than they actually receive in return. Like you're getting a lot more for your monthly membership than you would think. It's if you're even curious about trying CrossFit, I highly recommend street parking. And I get paid nothing for telling you guys this. Like I said, I don't even do CrossFit, so I'm just a fan of what they do.
Totally.
But so Jared doesn't get mad at me. I don't want him mad at me. He benches a lot. So let's go ahead and let's jump in here and let's talk about your products. So the way that the first thing that I would say I knew about that you made was the knee pad and lat pull down attachment. I got mine from Porter, but I saw that you were making one as well. And it's essentially the same thing. So let's just start here. And this goes with the Bells of Steel 60 millimeter by 60 millimeter by 60 millimeter cable tower. So it's like the leg holder pad. Let me see if I can't scroll down here. There we go. So it's got the leg holder pad right there, and then you've got the kind of see the welds and stuff, and then you've got the obviously the bracket that goes on there. So I don't think this was your first product, but is this one of your more popular ones given what it's for?
Yeah, my first product was a Nordic curl attachment. So
okay,
I stumbled across knees over toes, and I bought a welder because I wanted to build a backyard smoker, because like that's what you do in Texas. You get a stick burner and offset smoker, and you smoke meat in your backyard.
Let's check out this.
So I bought a welder to do that, and I found knees over toes, and I was like, oh, these Nordic curls look cool, but I don't have a place to do them. So I just came up with a similar design here, and I bought scrap pieces of metal from onlinemetals.com. So bought like exactly what I needed.
Okay.
And as I was making it, I just filmed it. Like I said, I worked as a video producer for a number of years. I've always loved video editing. Have a YouTube channel.
Hold on a second. So I just said like not 30 minutes, not even, I don't even think it was 20 minutes ago. I said, I don't know anybody who loves video editing. And just like that, we found somebody. All right. This is the only guy, the one right here. See that? See, I'm pointing. It's him. That's it. That's it. Only one in America. Go ahead. All right.
I love it. Yeah. It's so fun. So I would look for opportunities to make videos. So it wasn't even about the content itself. It was just like, oh, what can I make a video about? So I made a video about the Nordic curl, and someone commented, and I'll have to look up who did it because he started the whole thing, but he's like, hey, I want that. Can you make me one and paint it white? So I made him one. He actually found foam pads that would fit. We bought them on Amazon, and I sent it to him, and he's like, dude, you should sell these. So, created the website and went from there. And so I had sold like maybe 10 of these, like one a month. And someone reached out and was like, hey, that Nordic curl pad would work really well for this Bells of Steel cable tower as like a leg holder. Have you thought about making one of those? Okay. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, like, I don't know if I can get the measurements right, because it's, 60 millimeter square tubing. I can't even source that. Yeah. So talking to my wife, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this like $400 cable tower to make like this $200 piece of equipment. She's like,
an investment.
Yeah, it's an investment. And
I'm thinking about the future of our kids, baby.
Exactly. And kind of went back and forth and ended up buying it. And Bells of Steel have become, well, now I have a foot plate, but for a while that was like the only thing I sold were Bells of Steel's attachments. Somewhere along the way, crossed paths with Porter, and we realized we were both making the same thing. And like I said, luckily there was no hard feelings, no grudges. We just hopped on the phone and we're like, we can coexist. And now we collaborate together. But
So so we've got the let me go ahead to this other product that's also for the same thing. In fact, you've got a section that's just Bells of Steel attachments. So we've got the the knee pad, right, and the lat pull down attachment, right, that goes on the top. Not the crane, but the kind of thing that just extends it a little bit, right? And so we got that. How did you get around to the thing about saying, hey, you know what, there's not enough range of motion? Because you're not the first person to have noticed it. You just, you and Matthew were just the first people to do something about it that I know of, right? And say, okay, well, we'll just extend it up and make it higher, right? So how did this product lead to the it's called the crane, right?
Yeah, the crane. Yeah. Every idea, like I said, I did the Nordic curl one. Every other product on my website has come from the community. Someone said, hey, like, I need this. And
it looks good.
Yeah. And this is Porter's brainchild. I've iterated on it, and like I now produce them, and then we both sell the same one.
Okay.
But a ton of credit goes to Porter for the original idea. I mean, that dude just is super creative, and I love working with him because I really enjoy the fabricating side of things. He really enjoys the creative side of things. So
yeah, it's like a
together.
synergy.
Yeah, it's a great synergy.
Those are some clean welds, man.
I try my best over here for sure. I would say daily things go wrong in this shop.
All right.
My powder coat oven caught on fire last night.
Oh wow. Okay.
So things are going wrong on the regular. It's the struggle of a small business, but certainly trying my best to just make each product a little better than the last one.
So Sean is a welder, and he says some slick beads are being dropped in the home gym community. So many good fabricators / welders in this group. And he also says you're doing well. And I agree. You know, you mentioned that it's just you, right? And you are working a full-time job and you do this, right? Not necessarily on the side. I don't want to, because when I say that, people look at it like, oh, well, it's just a side hustle. It's almost like it's like one step up from a hobby, right? But that's what Garage Gym Life is for me, and it's certainly not a hobby. Like, I take it seriously, and I know that you take what you do at Caracara seriously as well. But for people who don't understand that it's just you, you know, do you ever have to like say, hey, look, let's lower your expectations? You know, I don't have this just sitting. You ordered it today. I don't just have it sitting on the shelf. I'm going to make it, which is going to take time. And it depends on where you are in the queue for the other things I've had to make. I have to make for people who placed their order before you. So I'm going to get it to you. Like, do you have to kind of manage expectations a little bit when you talk to your customers?
Yeah, you're spot on. So many times I'm like, hey, I'm not Rogue, I'm not Rep, I'm still figuring this out. Anything you buy, if it doesn't work, send it back. We'll continue to iterate. Like, I can't promise it's going to be perfect the first time around. The saying, like, building the plane as we're flying it, couldn't be more true. Like, I used to weld in the garage, and then my kids were getting metal shavings in their feet. And I was like, man, I gotta put a shop in the backyard. But at this point, I had sold a few products, and it was like, you can't spend $10,000 on a shop. So we built a shed, 344 square feet, and of course, it's way too small. I've already outgrown it. Like, never expected it, but definitely building.
That's the kind of thing you could do in Texas when everything, like all the yards are huge and all that.
Yeah.
So he's like, we just went ahead and built a shop in back. Somebody in New York is like, how big is this place? Like,
yeah, we're on an acre, which, you know, for Texas is small, but I spent 7 years in Chicago.
Okay.
You were living the dream if you had an acre.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to set expectations all the time. Just that, hey, things are going to take longer. They may not be as polished, but so much goes into it. And that's, you know, a lot of people just don't understand how much effort goes into creating something, especially something custom. And Dean just, you know, put up a new page on his website around custom products.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant because it just sets the expectations, which is like, hey, for starters, the minimum is 150. And I'll get DMs like, hey, can you build me this? Hey, can you build me that? And I don't want to like sound cocky, but to even just read the DM or read the email and like try to understand the idea, that's now cost me $100. Like, if I only have nights and nights and weekends to do this, even just understanding the idea takes so much time and effort. And then the back and forth, the measurements, like, it's so cumbersome to get it right. So like, if you're not willing to spend the 150, like, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. Right. And I recently started making some Vultra mounts. I got a Vultra, you know, jumped on that bandwagon, and a guy sent me some ideas, and I sent back some pricing. I was like, hey, sorry, I can't even get close to like the ideas you're sending me, but like, this is where it's coming out for me based on my time and effort. And he was like, cool, send the invoice. Yeah. So there's people out there that appreciate it, which I love. Like, there's Nordic curls that are half the price. There's knee pads that are half the price. There's low row foot plates that are half the price. but like people still continue to buy my product. And I think a part of it is like they're like supporting a small business. They like supporting American made. And I try to share my channel, my Instagram channel, the build process, so people see like how much time and effort goes into it.
I think that's something that I was gonna say is like, I know that there's a little bit of, maybe this is changing, but I know that some fabricators and welders have a fear that like, if I'm coming up with a unique product, there's a fear that somebody else is gonna see it and try to copy me, right? But I think that for it to be a custom thing, I mean, your YouTube channel could literally be nothing but videos about building. Hey, what am I building today? I mean, they have TV shows based upon that. Is with cars, right? People just love watching stuff get built. There's a show called How It's Made, right? And I think people are really, well, probably guys are into just watching that. And I think that's a big thing. Let's go. We got a question from Jared. He said, "What's in the works as far as products?" So you mentioned that you were doing the thing with the Voltras. What do you have coming up? Or are you kind of like just head down and working on that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's like others. I have a ton of ideas, but I rarely get to spend time on them because I'm like pushing out orders, and I'm not getting hundreds of orders, but I'm getting just enough to keep me busy that prevents me from creating anything. But I'm working on a Voltra lat extension. So similar to what we've done with the Bell's Tower, like something that goes on top that extends it, but then also has a bar holder. So Brody Lang, Lang Athletics, that insane basement gym, that dude in Toronto, he is a Voltra, or two Voltras and a lat pull down extension. And it's got, a bar holder that folds down. So I'm working on one that goes on like a power rack upright one, because I need it for me. And then I'm also doing a Voltra mount for belt squatting. Belt squatting on the Voltra is like this huge problem that needs solved. There's all these different ideas around using like Rogue's low row platform, or T-bar row platform, or putting it on a spotter arm or an upright. So I'm iterating on a few ideas, because if you can figure out like extending pull downs on a Voltra, and then the belt squat on a Voltra, then you've unlocked a ton of new exercises. So that's where my focus is right now.
Okay. So I'm gonna bring up a comment that you posted, because you guys I love, this is partly why I said that I feel like there's a little bit more cooperation now than when I first saw people when I became aware of the fabricator community, right? Mm-hmm. So let me share my screen real quick, because you made a comment on Mario's post, 46 Fitness, where he's talking about, so here's fun fact. He came on the show when he was first coming up with the idea for the roller J cups, and he showed like what he was talking about, and we gave him some feedback, and so it's really cool for me to see like this version of it, like maybe 3, 4, 5 evolutions down the road from what he was showing us when he was last on the show. I think it's great. But what jumped out to me was, you said so much work goes into builds like this. People don't always see the R&D, the iterations, and the failed versions behind the final product. Quality craftsmanship at this level is never comparable to mass-produced equipment. And I like that, because, again, it goes back to people understanding what's behind, not just what's behind a product in terms of the time and the effort, but also I think that sometimes people have this vision that the people who make their stuff don't care, like what happens when, and I think that there are people, fair enough, who make stuff and they just want to make money off of it, right? Mm-hmm. So they send it out to you and it shows up and it's flimsy, and if you get hurt, it is what it is. But I think that tends to happen more with overseas, I mean, not even overseas, but those pop-up Amazon businesses, right? Yeah. And the reason why they even exist is because people are willing to just cut corners and just suffer the consequences when they buy something cheap. They're like, oh, so, and I always look at, I just want to get your feedback on this, because I look at it and I say, all right, if I'm looking for something and there are 10 different versions of it, and 9 of them cost about $1,000. And then there's one that's $250. I should be very suspicious of the one that costs $250, right? But do you find yourself having to like fix stuff, for lack of a better word? Somebody says, oh yeah, I bought this other thing and it broke on me, so now I need to come to you to make something that'll be a little bit more durable. Do you ever do stuff like that?
Yeah, I've definitely received equipment from customers and like
they send you the actual thing and say, can you fix this?
Yeah, grinded down like ugly welds and re-welded, repowder coated, or someone bought something and they're just not happy with it. And then they're like, hey, we would like something better. And similarly, like I used to make, so I have a bunch of my stuff that, this was supposed to be powder coated yesterday, but like I said, my powder coat oven caught on fire last night. So now I'm taking this stuff to a powder coater, a local powder coater today. But I used to make, so this is a foot plate I make. But I used to make it with just a single piece of flat bar. And that's because that's what I could cut on my table and have it be reliably cut every time. So I was making them and I sold one. And one day I was on Reddit. I recently joined Reddit because like the home gym community strong there. And I saw like a dude had taken my foot plate and taken it to a local shop, and they had swapped out that skinny flat bar piece of steel for 2-inch square tubing. And I was like, oh man, like he had to iterate on my product. Like I felt so sad about it, you know, but I was like, but clearly this is what needs to be done. Like people want something that's more firm. So like that day I was like, I'm changing it out to use square tubing. Like that's what people want. And I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I'll send you a new one. He's like, well, I already have this one. I was like, okay, well, let me send you something else. So people have done the same thing from me, and just trying to listen to the community and like constantly make things better. And one thing I've noticed, and this shouldn't come as a surprise, like when I resist the urge to just like get something out the door, when I like try to put a little more time into it, whether it's like 3D printing some badges or just improving it slightly, like I start to see a few more orders, like the more time I put into my products. And I think you see this like with Darko, you see this with Dean, like just a ton of TLC, like a ton of attention to detail goes into the products, and they're both very successful from my standpoint, from a home gym community. And I've seen that with my own work. So yeah, I definitely find myself like trying to improve upon other products. But the root of that comment was just like my foot plate's $275, and I think GetRx sells one that arguably has more features for like $105. And it's like I would lose money if I sold it at that. And what I was just trying to illustrate, because I know what Mario goes through, like so much goes into a product. Like the cranes we were just talking about, I have failed pieces.
Let me go
like
ahead.
I don't have a tube cutter. I just have a plasma table. So I have to set up a tube on the plasma table and try to get it straight. Well, I don't know if you can see, but my holes, right here, these holes don't line up perfectly. So I cut like 40 feet of steel. And it wasn't until after I'd cut it all that I realized that the holes weren't lining up. So
now that steel tubing is useless.
It's just sitting in a pile.
That's just money that you just can't. I mean, I guess you could. You can't melt it down and start over.
Weld.
That's
what my son learns
that's good
on.
though. But you know what? That's good. He's like 12, right? So it still has value because it's a training tool. But otherwise, we just eat the cost of that steel tubing.
You just eat the cost, and so that's what I was just trying to emphasize. It's like, and I don't want to make it seem like, oh, my customer should have to pay for my mistakes, but like so much goes into getting something right. A lot of times people kind of miss like all the stuff that goes wrong. Like I said, last night, my powder coat oven caught on fire. Like I'm now going to need to fix that. One of my foot plates, I was like, one of the last steps is tapping the holes so that I can put the UHMW inserts on it. And yesterday I broke a tap off in a hole. So I haven't solved it yet because my wife saw me like throwing stuff throughout the yard, throwing a hissy fit. She's like, you need to cool off. So I set it aside. But if I can't get that broken tap out of that hole, like that foot plate is scrapped, you know? So it just like this stuff is not easy, at least not for me. Maybe you know, who's been in the game for so much longer. But for me, there's so many mistakes. So I just want people to know that when you buy like Mario's products, who he's now brought it in-house, or my products, like a good amount of blood, sweat, and tear and cost went into that product.
So I'm going to stop right there because we just did something and we're doing something that has never happened before. So we have over 10,000 people watching right now. And so we're going to talk about nothing but your plasma oven, because I don't know what spiked it, but they love hearing that story. So you're going to start that story all over and just keep it and tell it again, because we're going to see if we can get to 12. All right. But man, hey, shout out to all of you guys who are watching. Now, do me a favor, at least one of you, some of you, hit like and hit subscribe, and don't just do subscribe to me, but also go and check out Caracara Metal. I'm going to put the link to check out the website is in the video description right now, and you guys make sure you check that out. You said that you put videos showing your build process on. Is it just on YouTube, or do you put it on Instagram as well?
Mostly Instagram, actually. Just because it's on my phone and it's like fast and
it's easy. Got you.
Yeah, it's easy. And I love like snappy little, like I pick the song first and then I create the video type of thing.
Okay. All right. Well, so that way people know if they go there, that's what they're going to find on your channel or on your Instagram feed. Man, you got to put it on on YouTube as well, because YouTube is searchable. So then you can divide it up into playlists. So you can be, you know, so like something that I've always thought is interesting, or that I enjoy watching, is the life story of a product, right? Where it's like, okay, this is the story you just told about the crane, just for example, or the thing about the foot plate, right? You say, okay, this was version 1, this is whatever. And I think that there's value in just telling the life story of different products, because, you know, you can patent something, but nothing stops people eventually, if they're willing to, you know, if they've got the money, they can hire an attorney to defend or whatever, right? A lot of times what helps you is the community getting behind your product, because they know the story, and they start to like say, hey, oh wait, hey, you know, I'm going to support this guy because I understand what Brian's trying to do or whatever, versus just buying something because it's a little bit cheaper on Amazon. Because like you said, I mean, no knock against GetRx, you know, I love what they're doing over there, but they've got multiple people creating designs, and you've got you know, and I guess you're training your apprentice right now. So that's pretty much it, you know. So you kind of have to,
which by the
people
way,
to buy in.
He likes soft bacon. Hate to break it to you.
Hey, a boy still with much to learn. That, you know, I don't expect kids to know everything. That's why they have parents. I blame you.
I've been trying. He won't eat the crispy stuff.
You know what? When I was a kid, there was a bunch of stuff that I did not like, that I just thought, you know, I was like, ew, I don't like the taste of that. And then, you know, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. So There you go. All right. My bacon got crispy, and my life less risky. Whatever rhymes. So yeah, anyway, so there it goes. Everybody go ahead and follow at Caracara Metal on Instagram so you can check out some of these builds. As I said, the link is in the video description now, and make sure you check it out even if you're on replay. Shout out to the replay gang. Let's see here. Dean said, I refuse to be burdened by outside circumstances I can't control, powder oven down, life, etc. Hey, 100%, because as we say, sometimes, you know, my friend group are like, you know, sometimes life be lifing. Sometimes life be lifing. There's nothing you can do it. There you go. Sean said you can't learn how to weld with floppy bacon. Exactly. Carlos said he's following you now. So there we go. Got you. If nothing else, we got you one more follower. Boom. Carp said he loves the small shop that does quality work. And Sean said one of the reasons he got into welding is because he loves watching how it's made. I'll say too, I was thinking all these different analogies, like you know, there's a difference. So I'm from West Africa, and if you're there and you want a suit, you don't go to the department store. And so what you end up doing is you go to a tailor and they measure you and they custom tailor your suit for you, right? They do it in Vietnam. So a lot of people like go on vacation to like Vietnam or something. They come back with all these different suits that are like these high quality suits that cost them next to nothing because that's just what you do over there, right? That's the only way to get a suit. And I think that that's the equivalent to what you guys do. Yeah, I could get this product off the shelf here, or I could get it custom made for me, custom tailored for me. Like my favorite, you'll understand this. I have a set of face savers downstairs, and they look just like every other face saver. They may not even be the best designed ones, but the person who made them at the time, Ian made he followed us on Instagram, and one of our hashtags is Garage Gym Life. And he followed us on Instagram. He's got our banner, and he's a welder and fabricator. He made one. He made some face savers that said hashtag Garage Gym Life. And I saw it. I said, oh, wow. I said, hey, man, what would it cost for me to get you to do that for me? And he said, well, considering I got the idea from you, I'll just send them to you. And he sent them to me from Canada. And side note, it took less time for me to get those face savers than to get my gym towel. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, it's so that's the sort of thing is like, could I get some other ones that are more, I've had those for years now, right? Since like maybe 2019. So yeah, we're at the 7-year mark, and other face savers have come along, maybe, better designed or whatever, but I'm not replacing it because of the story behind those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not even selling them or anything like that. It's just, I just love having this thing, which is another thing. There's a certain value for those of us who've had a home gym for a long time in having something that everybody doesn't have. I like having unique pieces that only I have. I think that's really, really cool.
Totally. Yeah. I think of Bremy, made his own power rack. And I was like, that's legit.
Exactly.
Like it's so easy to buy one. There's so many good options today. But like, dude made his own.
And he made his own, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too, is like before all this stuff became so crazy, one of the strongest people I know personally, Dennis Cornelius, still squats stupid amounts of weight on a power rack that he and his dad made in the afternoon after he got out of high school. I mean, he was in high school after he got out of class. He and his dad made I don't know if it's a C-channel rack or something like that, but it's just an old rack that he and his dad built themselves. And he's still training on it to this day, He's trained and won world championships on that rack, training by himself. Yeah. So like I said, I love the little stories behind all that stuff. Let's see.
So you want to hear the powder coat oven story?
Heck yeah. And Jameson said he's following you now. He said if you get a booth at HomeGymCon, he says message him so he can help you get your booth unloaded. Jameson is in charge of the volunteers at HomeGymCon. So if you're going to have a booth for Caracara at HomeGymCon, hit him up.
So I'm not going this year because that's my 15th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, do not under any circumstances. You are not. If you come there, you're on your own.
Yes.
We cannot guarantee your safety. All right?
I'll be there next year for sure.
Awesome. All right, so let's hear the powder coat oven story.
Yeah, so had a bunch of parts ready, finish the day job, come out, get them sprayed with powder, move them into the oven, turn the oven on, and normally, and it's no joke, like I turn it on and I like go back and hang with the family or start something else. But because I was coming on this, I was like, I should tidy up a little bit so I have a place to sit. Because normally the shop's a mess. It's too small, too much going on. Right. So I'm like cleaning and I hear a pop. And I'm like, what? Good. And I'm looking around and I like can't see anything. And then from the controller, which is between the oven has the door closed. And the booth, I see like a little bit of smoke coming out of it. So I run over the breaker and I shut it off. And then by the time I get back, and the controller's engulfed in flames.
Nice.
And I have a fire extinguisher in here. My wife made me get one.
Okay.
But I didn't want to use it because I've never used a fire extinguisher, funny enough. So I was like, I don't even know what I need to do. And I was like, oh, it's going to make
it's got instructions on it.
I know. So I was like trying to blow on the fire, trying to pat on the fire, trying to figure out. I didn't want to dump water on it because it's like a bunch of electronics. So I was like trying to figure out how can I put this out. Boy. And finally I was like, dude, you just got to get the fire extinguisher. So grabbed it. Took way too long. So that's a lesson learned. Like you need to figure that out before the fire is happening. Took way too long to get the things off and sprayed it and put it out. But like lost my cool, was absolutely livid. And then after like an hour was like, dude, you normally walk away. Like this shop would have been gone. Totally blessed in that regard. And I sent 4 pictures to the company who makes the ovens with the subject, please help. And that was at like 6 p.m. Central Time. And at 6:30 p.m. I got a shipment notification that a new controller will be shipped out. Oh,
nice. That is customer service. That's awesome.
Yeah. And they're based.
You can go ahead and shout them out. You shout out their name.
Light Armor Ovens. Like I haven't, and I have their booth. I did actually a YouTube video on their booth. It's been great. Haven't had any issues. I'm sure the controller was just something I did wrong because, like I said, I'm breaking stuff and messing stuff up on the regular. But 30 minutes after hours, they're like, "Hey, we're sending you a new controller."
That's awesome. Yeah. Shout out to Light Armor Ovens.
Yeah, pretty sweet. So I also in that 30-minute span found a powder coat. I live north of San Antonio, south of Austin, kind of like in the middle of nowhere. So like obviously those 2 cities have resources for me, but not a ton out here in Canyon Lake, Texas. And I found a powder coater 3 miles from my house that we pass.
You had no idea.
Had no idea.
Nice.
Hill Country Coating. So I'm going there today to meet Rick for the first time. I'm gonna take a bunch of parts, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll get you."
You should ask Rick. Hey, man, so what do you think happened? Show him some pictures, and
I know
maybe he knows how to help you.
Yeah. Okay. So, quite the adventure, but it stinks to be down for production for a couple of days. But like taking a step back, like it's a wood shed. This is a shed. I call it a shop. I bought a shed and turned it into a shop. This thing would have gone up, and I've got a lot of money and a lot of equipment in here that's like definitely still being paid off. So it would have been bad. So I'm blessed that.
And I'm nobody got hurt. So let's start there. So that's beautiful.
Like my son or daughter wasn't out here.
And
pretty wild.
And your business is all your stuff is cool. So that's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this comment up. But I don't take the fact that I'm putting this comment up in any way as an endorsement, or I don't even advise you to do it. Definitely not. All right. Jared said, you mean bringing the wife on a surprise? That's the key word in that sentence. Bringing the wife on a surprise anniversary trip to beautiful. It is beautiful. To beautiful Louisville, Kentucky. That's a winning plan right there, sir. So there's several things I don't agree with in that sentence. And if you got to surprise her, surprises are good, okay? But you will not be surprised if you surprise her with that on your 15-year anniversary. Don't be surprised at what happens next, okay? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know how she'd take to spending an afternoon looking at gym equipment because
I just feel like it's not gonna work out the way you want it to. Kevin said, dude, 10,000 views. Proud of you, John. I appreciate it, man. He said, I'm gonna head to bed. See you on the replay. Kevin, thank you for staying up way too late. He's in Japan, so he's on the opposite side of the world, and he stays up late, watches with his kids when they have dinner. So shout out to your family. And thanks for watching, man.
And teach your kids how to use a fire extinguisher.
Those little things. And Sean says, not what you'd expect to catch fire in the shop. Usually it's your pants and shirt. So don't they make aprons that you can wear to kind of prevent that event from happening?
Which I got because I caught my shirt on fire. I was welding in the driveway, and
Like I don't even weld, and I know that they got
Yeah.
the aprons and the hoods and all that stuff. Okay.
With the welding hood on, you're blocked out. You don't know anything else that's going on around you.
Okay.
And I finished the weld and I lifted up the hood and I looked down and my shirt is on fire. But I was leaning over.
You didn't feel the heat?
So I was leaning over the table, so the shirt was like off my body. And generally, you're just hot when you're welding.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And I like went to pull it off and I'm like, I'm going to burn my face on the way up.
Yeah.
So like grabbed it and like squeezed it between my hands with my welding gloves and put it out. And after that was like, the wife was like, it's time to get some welding apparel.
I feel like it's time to get an assistant. Somebody to tap you on the shoulder. Stop teaching your son to weld and just teach him, hey, look, let's go through some signals. All right. Hey, I got it. I'm a solutionist, right? You know those little handheld stop signs they give like the crossing guard at schools? All right, hand that to your son and just say, hey, if daddy catches fire, hold this up and wave it till I see you, okay? Good Lord. All right.
He does do that. I'll bring home 4x8 sheets of metal from the metal supplier, and then I back my truck up to the shop. And then I pull like the 4x8 sheet, a 1/4 inch is like 400 pounds. So I'll pull a 1/4 of it out at a time. And then I take a plasma cutter and I cut it into sections that will fit on this table.
All right.
And I'm cutting over grass, which like people on Instagram love. I'll put down like a fire blanket, but still. But I'll have him stand out there with like plasma goggles on while I'm cutting. Cause similarly, like you can't see anything. You're just like cutting with the plasma cutter.
Yeah.
And he's on fire watch with like a bucket of water and
we'll
yell my name. So
yeah, we're gonna get that kid that stop sign. In fact, your address is on the thing. We need to let's send Ryan a stop sign for his son to hold, because this is a safety issue. Okay.
He will love that.
Tell me this, what's your favorite type of product to create and why? And then I also want to know which product, when somebody places an order for it, which product makes you say, okay, I need to lock in, clear my schedule, because this is gonna take some focus. This is gonna be a challenge. Yeah. So what's your favorite and what's the most challenging?
Yeah, I love making this low row foot plate that I was showing you earlier. A customer, I used to make it with just flat plate.
Yeah.
And a customer's like, dude, you should get diamond plate. And as soon as I switched to diamond plate, like the orders went through the roof.
Yeah.
But the reason I love it is like when you put it in a power rack and you put this fixed pin in and you rotate it down and then you slide the pin in the back, like it just locks in, especially with like the protective liners on it. It's just such a satisfying feeling every time you lock it in. And every product I make, I have uprights from like all the manufacturers that I test them on, because I make them for Imperial, Metric, different size racks.
Right. So
I have to test every single one. And like I've said, there's been so many times where I slide it in and it doesn't fit. And at that point, it's like, oh, this is not good. So when I do lock it in place, it's such a rewarding feeling, because in 2019, you know, I've worked with my hands. My dad was blue collar. Like I had some skills, but had never touched a welder. So to now like run a CNC plasma, powder coat, design things in CAD, weld, all that stuff, it just comes so far. So it's like the culmination of everything when a product locks in place is super satisfying. And on the I better like button down the hatchet and dig in, any custom order. I have like this love-hate relationship with custom orders. Every custom order I lose money on, without a doubt, from a time standpoint, because no matter what, it takes 10 times more than I ever imagined. But like I said, every product on my website, aside from the Nordic Curl, was the result of a custom order. So I'm like, you know, like you want to take them on, but like I'm doing one now. I'll post a video of it today. A customer wants the foot plate I have, but they want it to be adjustable. But they also wanted it to be 25 inches wide, which is huge. Like this one's 13 inches wide.
Yeah.
So it has been a journey figuring that out, trying to get rid of the slop. And even powder coating it last night, it was so big and so heavy that when I would spray it with powder and then go to transfer it to the oven, I kept knocking it off things. So I had to keep going back and spraying it with more powder. And I was like just losing my cool again. But any custom order, I'm like, because half the time it's like, what does this person want? Like, I'm just trying to get inside their head and solve it. So it takes all the brain power, where the products I've been making for a couple of years, I can just like crank on them. So
Jameson said, if you want to reduce your variety, Dean Shantz could use some help making dip stations. that's Jameson. It's twisting. Okay. So as we get ready to wrap this thing up, tell me, what's your ultimate vision for Caracara Metals? You still have a day job. So is this what you want to be able to do when you retire? Or when you retire, you want to like hand it off to one of your kids, or like, what's the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I love it. The goal is to pass it down to the kids. My day job, I work in software, and software is changing. I've been working in software since 2007, but in the last 24 months with AI, it is absolutely wild. And I don't know what the future looks like. Right. So for me, this is very much like learn as much as I can, build out as much infrastructure as I can, and hopefully pass some type of fabrication business down to my kids and just give them a bit of a head start. Like they can start off with a couple welders, maybe someday a laser cutter, like some CNC machines, and just like the know-how, then I've done my job as a father. So yeah, that's the goal, is just keep building this out, because like I said, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years in the software world. So it's not a field that I'm like pushing them into, software in particular. Right. I'd like for them to do something that's tangible and that's real. And especially living in Texas, like if you know how to weld, like you'll always be able to put food on the table. So
So what I love about that is too often when I was growing up, I'm older than you are, I think. But too often when I was growing up, people would always say, you know, they would discourage you from following the family business, because it would say you need it's about what you want to do and what you're passionate about. And there's some truth to that, but I will also say that just about every large company started out as a family business at one point. And the reason why it grew is because the kids followed the dad, you know, in the dad's footsteps. And so they use their talents and their ingenuity to kind of add to their family's legacy instead of going to work for somebody else to build that person's family legacy, right? So the original vision for Caracara may end up looking very different, you know, by the time you're like 70 years old and your kids are running it, right? And your grandkids are getting ready to do it. But all of the talents and know-how and ingenuity and ability to figure things out is going to be used to secure your family's legacy, which I think is important. I know one thing we kind of touched on this. So you've got like the deal with the partnership with Matthew Porter at Porter Phys Ed Fitness, but you primarily make add-ons to increase utility and versatility of equipment from like Bell of Steel. You mentioned the Voltra, and I know that your website says, I want to make sure that we talk about this. That's why I make sure we get into this question. Your website says you don't have an official connection to any brand, right? But if you tried to set up, are you even interested in setting up formal relationships with those brands, or are you kind of like the volume that they might require with it? Might that be too much for you to handle at this point?
Yeah, honestly, I've never tried. I did an Instagram post about this, and I haven't done a good job, but I spend so much time working in the business. I rarely work on the business.
Gotcha.
So I've never reached out to any of these brands. Like Bell's will comment on some of my stuff, like Rep Fitness will comment on some of my stuff, but I've never reached out to them, and partly because like I do have this complex about my products that they're maybe not good enough for them. And I'm constantly trying to tweak them and improve them and stuff and like we alluded to, there's so many good options out there. So like you watch Fringe and the rate at which they come out with new products, it's like, it's intimidating. Like it's really easy to be like, whoa, I could never compare to those people. So I would imagine that's a part of it too, is just like, I'm not good enough, so I'm not even going to reach out to these guys. So I won't say that I never will, but I never have. It's never been a focus for mine. Like I said, I get just enough orders to keep me busy on the nights and weekends that I like have very little time to try to do anything else, create anything new or even do like any sort of marketing or anything, but maybe someday.
So we're on LinkedIn right now. So how could a brand, if a brand's watching, how could a brand reach out to collaborate with you? And then also, how can the people watching who are customers reach out to you if they want to place an order and they just want to, keep up with everything that you have going on?
Totally. Well, first of all, I appreciate the forum. This has been a super enjoyable conversation. You're great to talk to, and you clearly have a knack for this because it's super comfortable. But yeah, at Caracara Metals on Instagram or info@caracarametal.com is the best way to reach me. I have a Facebook page, but I don't go on it. I didn't realize, but my Instagram was also posting to Facebook. And like one day I went on that Facebook page and read a few comments and was like, oh, and people were just destroying me for every this, that, and the other. So I haven't been back on since. So I won't go on Facebook, but on Instagram or through the info@Caracara Metals. That's the best way to reach me.
Okay. All right. So I've got that information in the description for the video, so you guys can go check it out. Please go ahead and not only follow him on Instagram, follow Caracara Metal on Instagram, but go on the YouTube channel. And I'll say this, if you guys are interested in seeing like more build process, the best way to get that to happen is to go on the YouTube videos that he has posted on his YouTube channel. The link is in the video description, and comment on them, because I don't know who said it originally, but you get more of the behavior you reward. So if you make it worth his time and you let him know that he appreciates it, then I'll bet you that Ryan will be more inclined. He already told you he likes video editing for some reason.
I do. And I have all the equipment, the lights, the cameras.
Hey, look at that.
I need to do it.
If y'all want to see more build stuff and builds, whatever, then what you need to do, go on the Caracara Metal YouTube channel and just drop some comments about the stuff that you like. All right. And I'm sure he's going to be happy to double down and throw some more stuff out there, because he's making the videos already. It's not too hard to take something and repurpose it from Instagram to post the same thing from Instagram to YouTube as well. So, all right.
You're great at sales, my friend.
Hey, you know what? Jared is asking the question. I see your question, Jared. I'll answer that in a second. Ryan, I'm going to give you all the credit. Jared says there's 9,900 people are watching, and actually the record was almost 11,000 while we were getting the powder coat oven story. So that's, so essentially what we're going to do is that's going to be a regular segment. Next week, we need you to actually film the powder coat oven on fire. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but I'm sure you catch something else on fire.
Yeah, I do have another video of something that caught on fire that I can send you. So because I have a little ring cam up top there below that fan that just kind of washes over me, and that caught another fire. So yeah, we can make this a weekly segment as long as I'm working.
What's on fire now? Okay, nice.
Yeah. What's on fire with Caracara?
There you go.
No one's gonna buy my stuff. They're gonna be like, "Is it come burned first or what?"
Here's what I said. All right, here's what you do. You post it on YouTube. Because if you send it to me, I'm gonna post it on YouTube, and I'm gonna do the collaboration thing with your channel. So that if you want, we can do that. All right, but yeah, I promise you, I appreciate the time, man. I know you got to get out of here and get started. You got to go get some stuff powder coated. So thank you so much for taking time to come on here. Something that I say all the time is that it's really easy to get people. It's a lot easier than you would think to get people to send you free stuff to do reviews on. It's a lot more difficult to get people to give you their time. And so I truly appreciate you for doing so and being open and transparent and coming on here. Please come on back next time with or without more fire stories. And we'll see if we can get your son that stop sign. Okay.
Absolutely. It's been an honor. I'm so honored to be on here. Absolute pleasure. And you've made me a listener for sure. So
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Man.
Take it easy.
See you, John.
All right. So that was Ryan from Caracara Metal. That was such a cool story. I feel like I'm at the ground floor of a family business, and that, something that's going to be a big deal one day. So I really, really appreciate his time. Just as much I appreciate Uncle Reggie. What's up, man? Thank you for the $3.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, man. I'm overwhelmed whenever you guys choose to financially support the channel with the super stickers, with the super chats. We're not quite at the point where we have at some point we're going to have so many comments in the live chat that people will probably have to super chat just to be able to get their their comments seen. But we're definitely not at that point yet. And I really appreciate you, not just for getting a channel membership today, but also for taking the time to do the $3.99 super sticker, man. You are, like I said earlier, when Rex did the super sticker, you're making my dream come true, because my goal is to one day do just this. And every time you guys do stuff like that, every subscriber, every time you super chat, every time we get a membership, it gets me closer to that. So I appreciate you for keeping the dream alive. Ashley the Amazing, what's up? 332, what's up, homie? Ashley's going to be on the show soon, and I'll tell you guys about that in a second. But first, I'm going to tell you what I learned this week. So what I learned this week, speaking of Jared, is it's okay if viewers don't like everything. I said at the top of the show, the channel is like a magazine, right? And I was telling Jared, I don't know if you remember this conversation Jared had the other day, saying that just like back when we had magazine subscriptions, most people don't read magazines cover to cover, right? Most people didn't. I didn't read a magazine cover to cover. You had your favorite columns and your favorite authors. And for me, when I subscribed to Iron Man magazine, I read Bradley J. Steiner's column every month. I read everything Steve Holman wrote. I'd read the cover article, depending on who it was about. But I didn't care at all about their bodybuilding contest coverage. And every magazine I subscribed to was kind of like that. I'd have my favorite parts. I would just check that part out. But I would subscribe faithfully, right? And other people, I'm sure they would go to the contest coverage first because they wanted to know how their favorite bodybuilder did in this or that. So with this channel, we grew so fast, which is a great problem to have, and I'm grateful for it. We grew so fast that a lot of the new viewers only know us from watching our YouTube shorts. So our task now is to deepen the relationship by exposing people who discovered us through YouTube shorts to the 3 types of long form content that we create. So there's this live stream, there's our product reviews, our training vlogs. I guess it's 4 types of long form content because now we've added Mailbag Mondays to the list. And I just expose them to all of those things to see what sticks, right? And additionally, I have other types of content that I want to return to doing as part of creating more variety. That goes against YouTube growth advice. Conventional wisdom for growing and being successful on YouTube says you have to create only one kind of content. So every time viewers come to your channel, they know what to expect. If you want to have a different kind of content, you should create another channel. The problem is I don't think that spreading my efforts across multiple channels is a good idea. That works if I were cool with what my guy Kevin from Home Gym Gains calls ghost posting, where you publish a video, but you don't answer the comments, you don't engage, you don't give feedback or whatever, right? And I don't do that. I engage with every single comment that I see, pretty much as soon as I see it. That's tough to do if you have 4 different channels, and I feel that it disrespects you, our audience, to just ignore you. I don't like ignoring people. So instead, the way that we do it is we divide the different types of content up by playlist, and then we adhere to a rigid content schedule. So every Friday, you're going to get this live stream. Every Monday for the near future, you'll get Mailbag Mondays. Product reviews are only on Tuesdays, and I've had brands try to get me to do a product review on a different day, and I just say it ain't going to happen because Tuesdays, our product reviews are only on Tuesdays. And the YouTube shorts are only at night after you've had a chance to watch a long form stuff, and it gives you something interesting and, you know, motivating to watch if you just kind of up doom scrolling a little bit. It may not be smart. It's definitely not what experts would tell you to do. But some people are going to fall in love with Mailbag Mondays. Some people are going to fall in love with the product reviews and never watch. I have people who watch our product reviews and never watch anything else. They never watch the show. They don't even watch the replays of the show. I have people who watch this live stream who never watch our product reviews. And I'm okay with that. I got, you know, like I said, it's not what the experts would advise you to do. They would say you need to get your tribe to watch everything you do. But following my own path has brought us this far. And as my English professor, Earl Braggs, used to say, you have to learn to trust and distrust your intuition when you're trying to create anything worthwhile. Okay? So, yeah. Shout out to Caracara Metal. Ryan, man, I appreciate you. He's a brand new channel member. Thank you, man. Appreciate you so much. He hit that join button, became a member for 99 cents a month. You now have access to all of our video uploads before the general public. And I appreciate your support. Like I said, every bit of the channel membership goes right back into making a more professional, making our product, which is our video content, more professional and higher quality for you guys. So thank you so much for helping to make that happen. He said, I didn't even know I could be a member. Yes, all you gotta do is you click subscribe, and then after you click subscribe, where the subscribe button was, it turns into a join button. So you guys can become a member. So this is a good segue. I see your comment, Ashton. That's actually a good segue. So coming up next week, that's it for today's show. And coming up next week, we've got our friend Ashley Hiromiak at 7 a.m. She's going to be coming on to answer your training questions. So start. I'll tell you what, the easiest way to do it, there's a couple of ways to do it. Easiest way is to just go into our community section. So you go to the channel homepage and go across to where it says community and type in your question. You don't have to put a picture or anything like that. You can actually just type in your question, whatever kind of training, conditioning, or nutrition question, right? And just say for Ashley on Friday. All right. Question for Ashley. Let's do that. Question for Ashley. Another option is to go to one of the videos that Ashley has done for us and just drop a question in there. So let's see. In fact, let's I want to say, let's see here. There's one here. So there's one. I work out in a home gym. Can I still be a bodybuilder? Yeah. All right. So this one right here, we had the video that Ashley did for us, and I'm going to post the link right here in the live chat. So if you guys want to just go there and post a comment on that video, that's another option. So option one, go to the community post section, post your comments and questions for, post your questions for Ashley about training, conditioning, nutrition. Or you can go on the video that I just posted where she's talking about, training at home and being a bodybuilder. And you can add your question in the comments on that video. And of course, you can put your questions in this video as well. Okay. So she's going to be coming on at 7 a.m. next week. And then at 8 a.m., we've got PJ from Design Build Lift YouTube channel. He's going to be joining us. We're going to talk DIY projects, HomeGymCon, and more. And I'll have that stream link set up by the time I go live for Mailbag Mondays on Monday. So that's it for today's show, though. Thank you to my wife, Naomi, for joining me once again today. Thanks also to my guests, Chris Spagnisi from Strength and Steel Reviews and Ryan Powell from Caracara Metal for making this show a success. The show is nothing if you guys aren't here. So thank you for helping to make it something. All right. Rest of you guys, keep sharing this show link. I'll see you guys on Monday and keep stacking days. Peace.